For so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular upon spur, singing out, yeah, through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Welcome to Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, presented by the West Law Firm and Resto Pros of the Midlands, part of the Chief Sports Network, and proud partners of On3, Go Gamecocks.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
Consecutive home runs for Carolina.
It is good. It's gone.
He's in. Touchdown. He's with a throw to the top of the back.
He's going to score. It's a walk-off.
Touchdown, South Carolina.
All right, greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard. Welcome home. Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show presented by our friends at Resto Pros. There when you need them. Resto Pros of the Midlands. RestoProsMidlandsSC.com. And our buddies at the West Law Firm. You can visit WestLawFirmSC.com as well. Over 8 decades helping folks who need help here in this great state of South Carolina. Resto Pros was helping a lot of people last weekend with a bunch of flooding going on in Columbia. Hopefully that's out of the way now that football is underway. Gamecocks are on the practice field this morning. We do have Preston Thorne coming up here today. We've got a JT's Kia drive around the SEC. We've got a JC. We've got a Phil. We've got a Mike Morgan. And right now we've got a Gamecock report presented by Gamecock Traditions.
What's going on in Gamecock country? It's the Gamecock Report presented by Gamecock Traditions on the morning show. Visit GamecockTraditions.com or in Lexington and get your gear and apparel today.
All right. Yeah, it's a humid morning out there for all of you parents who shared it similar to me, getting your kids off to their first day of school this year. Welcome back. Welcome back to the school year. And young men and young women, or young ladies and young boys, or whoever, best of luck in 2026, 2027 as the school year is underway. Not officially yet at South Carolina, though. We're still a week away from that. But folks are moved in. folks are moved in. Gamecock football's been moved in for a while. They're practicing their longest practice yet. This is only their fourth one, but it is their longest practice to this point. They began 52 minutes ago, and they'll end in an hour and 33 minutes. 9:10 to 11:35. Helmets and shoulder pads today. Full pads on Friday. Shane Beamer will meet with the media today at 1 o'clock. And we've got a few offensive players, too. Hold on. Everybody just – I know that I know Mo Brown's one of them. Here we go. Mo Brown, Donovan Murph, Brady Hunt, Christian Clark, Nolan Hay. Those are the guys who have been requested and will be available at noon to speak with media members. So we'll see what they got to say. In case you missed it yesterday, Dylan Stewart, first team, Jacarius Peak, third team, preseason All-Americans by On 3. Bakari Swain named to the Paul Hornung Award watch list, presented annually to the most versatile player in college football. Good list for him to be on. South Carolina Hoops, they shut down the Bahamas yesterday. Not the actual island, the national team. 86-46. They were 2-0 at the Baha Mar Hoops Summer League. The Bahamas shot just 23.7% from the field. The Gamecocks shot basically 50%, 30 of 61. And they were 11 of 29 from 3. 25 assists on 30 made shots. They had 23 assists on 33 made shots versus Canada on Saturday, which gave them a assist to bucket ratio of 76% in 2 games. Overall, South Carolina scored 180 points in the matchups down in the Bahamas. For what it's worth, I felt like they looked a little clunky, but they also played everybody in all sorts of spots and running all over the place. So you got to see them.
How much did you watch?
I watched the entire game yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, I watched the entire game.
And what was your biggest takeaway?
It was clunky.
Well, I mean, let me offer up the red meat that I think the listeners would want. Who looked good?
I think that Corey Mincy looks pretty good. I saw parts of game 1. I couldn't watch game 1. My wife and I were celebrating our anniversary, but I did go back and watch parts of game 1. He seemed to look the most complete of every player that was out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that South Carolina's Hayden Asimian looks last year he was so much fun to watch, but he was just, he was wet behind the ears, Mike. You called some of the games, you saw him. I mean, athletic, still a little excited from time to time. He had a rebound yesterday and could have just laid it up in the basket, which he tried to do, but he bricked it off the backboard and it bounced out about 10 feet. He kind of shook his head like, damn. But he got there. So, I think he's a guy who maybe might end up being slept on a little bit because there's so many new players. I think people kind of forget that there are actually a couple dudes that return to this team. I think the Fernandez kid, I don't think he had a great couple of days, but I think he's got a chance to be pretty good. The kid from Texas looks like he shoots it pretty well, honestly.
Every game that I had with Camden, he's a lights out shooter, and he'll have a more defined role. And in Lamont's offense, he will get plenty of open looks. I'm curious. How did Davion Hannah look?
I don't have much of a takeaway on him. I don't want.
No, that's okay. I mean, again, it's a glorified scrimmage. I don't expect major takeaways. But those are a couple of the names. I mean, you mentioned maybe the biggest one in Mincy.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be the straw that stirs the drink. Yes. I think Hannon and Hyde were big pickups. I actually had a game with Bill Oskis.
He looked okay.
But it was at Kansas, so he didn't play his best game. Pretty good team, pretty good opponent, pretty tough place to play. But those are some of the guys that if this program is going to make movement, and I understand. I mean, I look in the chat box and I see the cynicism playing for the bottom of the barrel. Y'all might be right. I don't know. I honestly don't know. You folks that watch this show and see me on it, you know how I roll. I judge everything based on where you stack up with the other 15 teams in this league. So I'm not just going to paint you Pollyannish dribble and just say, everything's great, and this guy's great, and just look through everything through guarded and black lenses, and then by the end of the year, you're like, well, you told me that this team was going to be great. You're full of crap. Well, I don't do that. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know as of right now. I know a lot of the people they picked up. I've seen them in person. I will guarantee you this much. It is a better roster, point blank, than it was a year ago. I told people in October, JC and I had a lengthy conversation, and I said, man, just telling you right now, it's going to be a long year. And that's what it was. Mm-hmm. I'm not on August 11th. I can't sit here and say one way or another, other than I think it's going to be a better team that will compete better in a stacked SEC. When I say stacked, there are teams now that just opened up the checkbooks like you wouldn't believe. And they're not all Kentucky and Florida. Texas and Texas A&M are now spending ridiculous money. Don't be surprised to see Sean Miller's Longhorns in a lot of preseason top 10s this year. Sure. So that, and of course Arkansas with Cal. I mean, you're up against a lot, right? That's the thing. If Carolina played in, I don't know, the ACC maybe. I mean, honestly, they could be upper half in that league, but it would be very difficult to be upper half in the SEC this year. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, we have to remember two things. One, to your point, South Carolina, while, I mean, they will be, I don't think there's any way they're not improved. They will be improved, but basically every program in the league, when it came to adding kids out of the portal, other than LSU, because apparently they still only have 4 players, but everybody else, I mean, at some point in time, they're going to have enough guys to field a team.
You would think.
But everybody else, they also added a bunch of really good players. And if you go look at the transfer portal rankings, if that's how you want to judge it by, which is pretty much our only way to judge it until we actually see it, you see all those teams. So while South Carolina is likely to be better, the challenges are going to exist just like they always have. And they're going to have to find a way to win those games. And then, I think too, the other thing, is that I don't know that Carolina has to do what they did in 2024. I mean, number one, they're letting 100 teams in. So, you could go from 15th or 16th in the league to 11th or 12th, and you're dancing most likely out of the SEC. And, around here, that's okay. I think you
just made the ultimate point. You just made the ultimate point. This is a fan base that doesn't ask for much in basketball. Quite frankly, they don't ask for much in football either. But more on that for the next 4 months, right? In basketball, just get to some tournaments, right? Just get to some tournaments, and they got to one, and then it was like, and Lamont's winning every National Coach of the Year award and SEC Coach of the Year award, and it's like, okay, here we go. All aboard. And then 2 seasons in the cellar. And so fans don't want to hear any more about the money. I get that. The money is not going to be the excuse this year. It can't be, because the money is competitive.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, it was not.
Yeah.
And I know some people don't want to hear that either. I'm just giving you facts. It was not. This year it is. So if you don't produce this year, the fans are already a little bit restless. But you hit on it. I mean, there could be 11 or 12 teams from this league that get a bid.
Oh,
I
think there will be at least.
Yeah. So just get to that threshold, and this fan base will be happy.
Yeah.
And then if you win a game in the tournament, holy Moses. I mean, that's only happened 1 year out of the last 50. Because other than the Final Four, you got to go back to 1973, Jamie. I don't know about you. I wasn't around when that happened.
I was 12 years in the negative.
I think Nixon had not been impeached yet. That's to put it in perspective for you history buffs out there. So make it to the tournament.
they had ended slavery just 100 years prior. You know, I mean, it was.
I hadn't thought of that, but yes, so you're
things were still pretty new around here. If
Yes.
you really look at it. All right, let me wrap this up real quick here. We did put out a report last week. Hopefully, many of you read it on the Big Spur about what was going on at Williams-Brice Stadium, and I mentioned in there that South Carolina would be messaging everybody plenty directly, and they did put out their first of multiple that will be coming over the next couple of weeks. So if you haven't, go to Gamecocks Online, and they will explain pretty much everything we explained and then some. But kind of give you a little bit of a peek at what's been done to Williams-Brice Stadium, what will continue to be done throughout the season over there. But it's a good read, and we certainly appreciate the university for putting some statements out on that. And then also a reminder, if you're in Columbia and you just can't wait to watch some sort of something with a Nike swoosh on it, men's soccer, how about that? A pair of scrimmages this week. Mercer is today, and Wofford is Saturday night. And women's soccer, they'll open the season tomorrow versus Oregon State at Stone Stadium. GamecockTraditions.com. Go see them in Lexington. 131, 132, something like that, items with the Nike logo on them and all the other stuff. You know, they got plenty of stuff in there. Get your tents is a big purchase this time of year, Mr. Morgan. If you're going to be tailgating in the fall.
Who doesn't love a good tent?
Well, I just got mine delivered. So for those that will be out and about and need some shade from the sun, Gamecock Traditions, GamecockTraditions.com. So Preston will be in just a second. I got some really, and I'm going to continue to chip away at this on the website and try to speak with people a whole lot smarter than me and get some intel on their view of why Kendall Briles' offenses have been have worked and been dangerous over the years. And I did put some of those nuggets up today in a what we call a Barnyard Bits intel piece, just probably, I don't know, 45 minutes ago or so. So I'm excited. Preston will be in just a couple of minutes. We're going to about to hit a timeout. I'm excited to, as a defensive guy, Mike, pick his brain on some of these. I think this is something you and I, like, we're there, you know, we're through the last 90 days of bullshit, of talking.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, we can start to have some conversations about things that we will see with our football eye coming up here in a few weeks. And today we get a defensive guy. Like, how would you defend this? How do the hash marks play into it? Little things like that I think has made this show pretty good over the years. So I'm excited about that.
I love the question. I always love PT when he's on. So I will not delay any further and just get you ready to go to break by letting you know another guy who's pumped up about college football season. We're trying to see if he can get permission to come on, because guys that are like heads of officials of conferences, like Gary Patterson with the ACC, who happens to be a great State Farm agent in South Carolina for 30 plus years, 35 to be exact. They have to get clearance, even if it's just to talk about the new rules and update everybody. So we're trying to figure that out. I always like to get boned up on that. Had a seminar a couple days ago and went through some of the rules and regulations. Nothing too dramatically different this year compared to some of the updates last year. But when Gary is not officiating games, he is doing a great job being your insurance agent. I've had a couple people already mention in the chat box that they have switched to Gary Patterson and been very glad that they've done it. If trouble hits you, and it ultimately will, unfortunately, I just talked to a family that had a tree literally fall on their house. Like, that's not just an expression. Sometimes that happens. A tree falls on your house. You just hope you're not in the room that it falls on. But if you have a bad insurance agent and you call the toll-free number and you get some guy in Bangladesh, that tree is going to be in the middle of your living room for a while. You call Gary Patterson, he's on it. 803-438-5000, 803-438-5000. Gary Patterson of State Farm. He's in Lugoff, but he's got the entire state of South Carolina covered. He's got the entire state of North Carolina covered for you Gamecock fans in Charlotte. By the way, what the hell is going on in the Queen City? Can you find somebody to actually prosecute crime there? He's got the entire state of Georgia as well. Gary Patterson, GaryPatterson.net. I hope, Jamie, that wasn't too controversial a take.
I I thought it was just factual, but that's
it's disgraceful. Am I right?
I'm not sure that's a take. I think it's more of a stating a fact.
Right. I mean, good. You and I both know plenty of people that live in Charlotte. There's a ton of Gamecock fans in the Queen City of Charlotte, right? Yeah. I've actually spoken to that club before there. Like, great people. Charlotte's a terrific city, but good God. Would you do something, please?
It's happened.
I'm tired of seeing Charlotte in the national news every day for the wrong reasons.
It's happened in Asheville too, which is just unbelievably
disgusting. Just disgusting.
Sad. Yeah. But you know who isn't disgusting, and he
not
would never
Preston.
do such a thing. No,
he'd clean that up in a heartbeat.
You know what he would do to calm everybody down? He would pull out his Just a Chicken book and he would read it, and he would just fill people with joy and pride in themselves. And he does the same thing for us. He'll do it again when we return.
Gamecock Traditions is your Nike superstore and your home for anything and everything with a South Carolina logo. Visit us in the Midlands and order online at GamecockTraditions.com. Go Gamecocks!
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
Walk me through the toughest case or situation we've had to handle without names or locations. Just what was the toughest situation?
The hardest one was there was an individual that defended themselves in their home, and they're still criminally charged. And there was evidence that they were being sought after for something that they weren't technically involved in. And they're being charged criminally because they defended themselves inside of their own home for doing what was right and what we believe at Right to Bear to be a human right.
TheBigSpur.com, now part of On3. Join for just $1 today.
When you buy and sell your sports and fitness gear at Play It Again Sports, you support a local business. We pay our customers for their quality used sports and fitness gear and resell it, recycling it back into your community. Support local, score savings.
Play It Again Sports.
Palm Casual Patio Furniture presents our coverage of South Carolina football. Visit palmcasual.com today. Make your outdoor space the best it can be. Go Gamecocks.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
A really common fear in a workman's compensation case is what's going to happen to my job if I report this injury? And my answer to that is you still need to report your injury. I'm dealing directly with the insurance company, and the insurance company is going to treat you like a file number. So let me make sure that doesn't happen to you. Let me get involved in your workman's compensation case.
Coffee, weekday mornings with JC Sherbert. Watch or listen on the Chief Sports app, the Chief Sports YouTube page, and available on Apple and Spotify.
Bring on your forces of nature. Bring on the storm that's raging. If you get lost in the shadows, there's a fire inside you. Be the light that guides you. Come on, carry your flame. Carry it higher. Even in the darkness, carry your torches. Come on, carry your flame. Set the night on fire. Even in the darkness.
All right, it is Tuesday, August the 11th. It is back to school day for many across the state of South Carolina as the boys and girls are making their way through the hallways. And I'll bet you, how many schools do you already have lined up to read to this year, you and Langston?
We got quite a few. This is usually one of our busy times of the year, kickoff season. So we usually start getting ready probably about 2 weeks after school starts, because they have to have the routines and have to figure out where to put the book bags and all that stuff. So a lot of times we get to be the school's first assembly for the year. So it's fun.
Well, I couldn't think of a better duo than a couple of former defensive tackles in the SEC to just roll on in and start reading. By the way, for those like my kids who started school today, what a great day to start school. It is National Sons and Daughters Day. Did y'all know that?
I did not.
Did not.
Yeah. And we're all sons and daughters, so we're all celebrated today. So this is it's a great day. Happy Sons and Daughters Day to all of you.
I didn't get a gift, so apparently I wasn't a very good son.
Well, my mom probably doesn't even know that exists, but that's okay. It's also the 4th day of camp. They're out there right now. It's helmets and shoulder pads, full pads. That first day comes up on Friday, which will be, I believe, like the 6th overall. Or no, I don't know what it'll be. Who cares? So, PT, do you have, I'm not asking you what, I'm just asking you if, do you have a storyline or major subject that you are currently following or focused on for this football team?
Yeah, you know, all my storylines were pre-camp starting. Obviously, there hasn't been much information that I've received or heard about once camp has started. So a lot of the things are still pre-camp. On the offensive side of the ball, what's going to be going on in the running back room. I did get a little bit fired up listening to Coach Stan Drayton talk. I count me in the camp of I'm a fan. Just from his media appearances and just hearing the way I think he's going to approach the game, I feel like that's going to be a huge upgrade. And so I'm even more excited about what's going to come out of the running back room than maybe I even was before, just when I got a chance to hear him talk. So maybe that's probably the number one storyline is what's going to come out of the running back room.
Yeah, I think all of this ties into, I mentioned to Mike just a minute ago, we're getting into the time of the year that has always been my favorite time as it pertains to discussing football, which is actually discussing football with guys that understand the sport like you. And, John will be here later on this week and starting, or Perry will be here this week, Pat DeMarco, those guys, Flint, can't forget Flint. He might be goofy, but the dude understands the game of football somehow. So I want to talk to you about tempo because I've spent the last few days just kind of picking the brains of people who have done all that they can to kind of diagnose Kendall Briles systems and schemes and why they have worked over the years in different ways. You brought up the running back, something we've talked about around here a lot, is the fact that every year isn't the same under a Kendall Briles offense. Some years running back might have 1,000+ yards. Some years 3 or 4 might have 400 or 500 yards. You might have 1,000-yard receiver. You might not. It all depends on their personnel and kind of catering to that, most notably the quarterback, of course. But tempo, one of the things was mentioned to me, PT, and as a defensive guy, you're perfect for this conversation. It was mentioned to me that it's his scheme really is not that complicated. And the way that it was described to me is tempo is crucial in a Kendall Briles offense to confuse defensive alignment and try to keep everybody on their heels and sometimes not really knowing who they're covering or what space on the field they are covering, because he does use the entire field. So if you're a defensive guy, if you're a defensive coordinator, if you're a defensive tackle, whatever you want to be in this instance here, and you've got a high-tempo offense that utilizes space like Briles, what is the strategy to defend that?
Dog, there's some sirens going by, so that's Riley in the background if you hear him.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
That would be Riley in the background. Hold on 1 second.
That's a first around here, right? I think that was the first.
That is Riley the Rock while letting her presence be known. Okay, so Jamie, the first thing about tempo from a defensive perspective, and especially from a defensive lineman perspective, is I am tired. Right, I am tired of having to run these plays consecutively in a row, up and down the field. You're lining up again. I'm getting gassed mentally. I can't sub, even though they do a little bit of stuff with defensive substitutions. But even for the big guys, this is what people don't think about it. For big guys, even when I sub, I still got to run off the field. I'm still tired, or I got to run on the field. So for me, the biggest thing about tempo is that it makes big guys tired. And when big guys get tired, they don't play very well. So if you have maybe a slight disadvantage on offense, and you're going against some of these monsters that we see in the SEC, that is a great equalizer, because when big dudes get tired, that little bit of extra effort you're not likely to find it for some of those dudes that are 300 plus. That's the first thing. The second part is that it just neutralizes what a defensive coordinator can do, because by you keeping the same personnel in and you staying in very similar formations, now all my calls have to be the same. I don't have a bunch of tendencies that I can draw from you based on what you do. So it makes me have to be vanilla just like you are. And it really allows the offense to let their play shine, or to isolate their individual talents against a defensive guy. So it does present a lot of issues for a defensive coordinator.
This might be a difficult question to answer. There's so many new defensive coordinators in the league this year, number one. But is there a defensive mind that comes to mind, in your opinion, that maybe is on the schedule? Brent Venables, for instance, maybe that's one. Kirby Smart, guys like this who have defended all sorts of offenses over the years. Is there somebody that you go, you're a defensive guy, so you understand defense better than any of us do. His defensive scheme is something that would really combat this, and here's why.
Well, so you brought up Brent Venables, and Brent's whole thing is he doesn't do anything that is on script. He doesn't follow any of the conventional rules, and that's what makes it so difficult to prepare for Brent, is because he doesn't do anything of what you're supposed to do. That being said, with tempo, you keep him neutralized, because now he can't draw up all of those fancy blitzes and those double stunts and all that weird stuff that he likes to do, because he doesn't have time to get the call in. The players don't have the time to adjust, reasons. So just to kind of answer that question, any of those guys who are very exotic as far as defense is concerned, Brent Venables, you got from LSU. Can't think of his name.
Blake Baker.
But he ended up Blake Baker. Defenses are concerned, this neutralizes them, because they don't have time and or the space to really get some of that crazy stuff going.
Okay, so then I guess what I'm understanding here is defensively, you're relying. Maybe I'm oversimplifying this, but you're relying on one of two things to be successful against an offense like this. One, yourselves and your talent. Where do you need to have good players on the field to be able, where do your difference makers need to be in a defense like this in order to stop, slow down, however you want to describe that, a tempo style offense? The other, though, is based on the offense. Do they limit mistakes? Like South Carolina last year made a lot of mistakes, and we've heard Randy Clements mention already, if you don't have a center, you don't have an offensive line. And that's basically what he said. If you don't have that guy, this whole thing ain't gonna work. And last year there was snapping fractions every ball game. I mean, it was a disaster. So if you're limiting mistakes in your South Carolina, the way that I'm understanding this is now you're worried about personnel on the other side of the ball.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jamie. So you can take a little bit of pride. I think you're very right in those things. Let me break down why I think you're right. And starting from the backside. When you're on defense against these type of tempo offenses, their biggest thing is rhythm. They want to be in rhythm. They want to call plays. Kendall Browse gets to going. He gets to feel himself. The inside zone is working. Now the RPO is going, and now all of a sudden this time Lenoris keeps the ball instead of handing it off, and then the next time he keeps the ball and throws it out to Jaden Sellers in the slot, and they're doing all kinds of stuff. The best gift for a defense are incomplete passes and loss of yardage plays. If Lenoris, this is what Lenoris has to improve on, his accuracy. Let's say if there's an open man and he misses them, or it's a drop ball. The clock stops, gives us a second to breathe. They have to respot the ball. Now we can kind of start back from zero because you just don't want the momentum to get against you as a defense. The second, and going back to the first part of your question, how can that get stopped? I always say it. I guess I'm a little bit biased, but a good three technique that can blow stuff up immediately.
Okay.
And if you have a guy that's in there, or even maybe even a guy that can blow stuff up, let's just say like a TJ Sanders, make a play, and now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 12, and that just slows everything down for a moment. A little bit, gives me as the DC a chance to breathe, a chance to refigure things out. You just want to keep them, you always hear about staying behind the chains and all that stuff, or ahead of the chains if you're on offense. But as a defense, those tempo offenses can just get rolling, and it feels inevitable. So drop passes and lost yardage plays are probably your biggest friend as a defense.
So catch the football is what you're saying. Catch the damn football, boys. All right. Another guy that I spoke with, again, these are offensive guys studying the Briles system. Here's what I see. A lot of this is very surface level stuff, but we're going to try to dive a little bit deeper into it. One guy that I was speaking with, one contact mentioned where players are lining up and there was two reasons behind it. One was spacing, and he was mentioning the hash marks. The hash marks being wider in college football than in the NFL. And he noticed that Kendall Briles is really, really good at utilizing the space on the opposite side of the field from the hash mark. He will make you defend all 53 and a third that cover the width of a college football field. The other thing that he mentioned from a personnel, and he did point out, he's like, hey, you'll often see wide receivers just a couple of yards inside of the sideline because they're literally creating as much space as they can to try to get their playmakers to football. But he mentioned playmakers. He was like, dude, this isn't going to be all the time or anything like that. But I've seen this plenty with Briles. He'll throw 5 wide receivers out there, and one of those guys will end up lining up at tailback or something like that. And it's because he's found something. He's found a matchup. He's found some space, and they're trying to get the ball to these guys in space, clearly, to be able to pick up chunk yardage. So I'll be curious to see, how often that happens and what that looks like and things of that nature. But from a defensive side here, you're defending the whole field, and then you get kind of some wonky personnel from time to time. Walk me through that. Like, how do you prepare for that, and then how do you defend that?
Again, starting from the back, as far as personnel is concerned, if you have offensive personnel that can go multiple, and now all of a sudden you have 5 wide receivers in a normal game, I would just sub in maybe my nickel corner or my dime corner, whatever that case is. But if I'm worried about tempo, I can't sub these guys in and now all of a sudden you might have created a mismatch where now your outside linebacker is having to guard a slot guy who's a lot faster than him or something along those lines. That's why from a defensive perspective, having those Swiss Army knives like Nick Minwari or even Jalen Kilgore, that helps you out so much because now I don't have to substitute. I can just put him in a different spot. So that's why those guys are so important, especially in modern football today. And then the other thing about spreading defending the whole field, not only do they stretch you horizontally, but there's always going to be a deep threat on almost every single passing play. And you will have to acknowledge that every single time. So I like to think of it like a rubber band, and it's just like a rubber band. If you try to the more you stretch a defense out, it can stretch, but it's just gonna take a little bit of a poke, and it's gonna break eventually. So as long as the rubber band is regular, it's not gonna it's not gonna rip or it's gonna break. But if you stretch it out far enough, it'll be a lot easier to find a spot to break. That's what that the folks in the upstate. I think Chad Morris was maybe one of the not the inventor, but he's definitely one of the guys who really pushed the idea of defending sideways. But when you combine that sideways defending with the vertical threat, it leaves a lot of stress on the defense.
All right. To pin that down a little bit as it pertains to personnel, because we've heard, starting with the wide receivers, I mean, I think maybe with the exception of a name or two, they've all been mentioned to me personally, and I know my colleagues, JC, Wes, Chris, I mean, these guys, they talk to the right people. We continue to hear names. All of a sudden, Sequel Patterson's name has come up. Here's a freshman who might be pushing for some playing time. And when you start to kind of study the offense a little bit, you start to figure out, okay, maybe I see a reason why, because there are some creative ways to get guys on the field and get the ball in their hands. Like they see value in these kids, maybe not in the way we see it, because they're the ones who are running the offense. But let's talk specifically about Nick Harbor then, because you just brought up that vertical threat. We've been talking about spacing and making defenses defend the entire field. Nick Harbor, unless somebody is able to prove us wrong, is the fastest player in college football. And just as recently as a couple of weeks ago, a column on ESPN listed Sellers and Harbor as like the most dynamic combination in the sport. Probably rightfully so, because that was the only way that Carolina could score last year. It was by throwing the ball down the field to the speedster. So when you think about Nick Harbor and his role in this offense with everything that we've discussed here, now, after having those conversations, now how do you see Nick Harbor in a Kendall Briles offense in Columbia, South Carolina?
Well, I think the biggest clue we got was how Nick Harbor sees himself in this offense. I think it was media days when he was talking about how fun the offense was and how they had the different option routes that they can run. And it all starts from them, pressing you vertically, which you have to respect. And you think about being a cornerback and you have to line up against a dude who runs a 10-100. And he's taller than you and he's bigger than you. That's a very daunting task for a lot of cornerbacks to have to try and figure out. And that if that threat is there every single play, that you have to respect it, then it becomes a very difficult I think people may be underestimating how tough that's going to be in an offense, because it was, even as bad as the offense was last year, that still worked. And I guess my biggest complaint was, hey, we have something that's working. Maybe we should try it a couple more times. I don't think Kendall's going to be scared to do that.
Whew. We gotta simmer the excitement around here. That's probably the smart thing to do right now, is simmer the excitement.
For what, Jamie? It's the football season, man. They can simmer the excitement in the stadium, man. We can get excited out here.
Well, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I just I continue to find this whole thing just really fascinating, because I do think that, Preston, let me ask you if you agree with this. I do think, not that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all. It's not coming from a place of it's not like a fandom comment. We're able to study this year round. So, it's kind of up to us actually at the end of the day to to look at it from every angle we can. I'm not so sure that most of the rest of the country that follows closely or covers college football understands the amount, the quantity of true weapons that South Carolina has. I think that, and I'm not trying to gloat, I'm not trying to like prop them up and make them something they're not. I actually do believe that this team they've got some lethal guys on the offensive side of the football, probably 2 or 3 times more than I think they're getting credit for out there at this point in time. Do you agree with that? If so, why? If not, why?
I agree with the first part. I personally think there's still some questions that need to be answered as far as guys that can show up. Not meaning we don't have them, and I want to be very clear. I think they just got to show and prove. But on the first part, Jamie, I think that nationally, I think people are really underestimating how bad that offense was last year. Like I know you see the stats and I see the numbers, but we all watched it week in and week out until the change was made and there was some life that was breathed into the offense. But man, that was an in-depth system, and I think I'm not sure you can get a full grasp on how good some of those weapons that you say are by judging them by them being part of that system, because that system was bad. And I don't know if national have
losing him there
in place.
Can you hear us? I think you're breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah, there you go. That okay. Seems to be a little bit better. Yeah, there you go. You can finish on. Go ahead.
To sum it up, the offense was really bad last year. How bad it was and how much better this offense is going to be.
Okay. Well, we're going to start to find out. We'll get some into it. Mike, you can ask any question you want. Go ahead.
I just got one. I'm going to ask him the same one I asked Wes Mitchell yesterday, and it kind of dovetails nicely with what he started about, excited about the running back room, right? Okay, Preston, we're going to fast forward to week 3, with all due respect to Kent State, the Golden Flashes, and that mighty defense, and the Towson, whatever Towson's mascot is. Mississippi State, and for that matter, you could go ahead to Alabama. I'm letting you play offensive coordinator, like the Akron fan base will do. More on that in a moment. You got 30 carries to divide up with your running backs, not quarterback runs. 30 running back carries. How are you going to divvy them up?
I like this question. I'm not trying to be a politician here. Let me just be clear on this. based on what Coach Drayton said, he said he is going with the hot hand. And so what I would like to see is the person who gets off to the best start, whether that's Matt Fuller, who maybe RB1, I'd like to see that person take 2/3 of the carries. So maybe 20 of the carries will go to a specific running back. I'd assume, and we'll see what information is coming out of camp, but if Matt Fuller's RB1 and he's the guy that's running, I'd like to see him take 2/3 of those carries. So 20 carries for me for RB1 is what I would like to see.
And then what, Clark in the 2-hole?
And then in the 2-hole, we'll figure things out. Maybe it's Clark in the 2-hole. You splitting those evenly. Maybe 5 and 5 or 7 and 3, whatever the case is concerned. But I personally would like to see the hot running back or the best running back get a majority of the carries.
You're preaching to the choir. This has been my my mission in the off season is to never have a situation like last year again, or even a couple of years before that again. There needs to be a bell cow. There needs to be a guy that you're counting on the majority of those carries, let them lather up, and let him try to wear people down in the fourth quarter. Because I think the misconception for a lot of people is that a Bryles offense is just a pass happy, throw it 50 times, and the running game is just the quarterback running around. That's not it at all. If you go back in history, more often than not, his offenses have more rushing yards than passing yards. And though a lot of those do come from the backs. And it's funny, Wes's answer, Wes Mitchell, yesterday was almost identical to yours. He had 20 to go in the Fuller as well. And then I think he had like 8 and 2. And as you mentioned, you could split up those final 10, either 50-50 or 7-3. But I'm right there with you, PT. I'd like to see that as well. I don't need it to be an equal, judicious, everybody gets some, like we're spreading out Halloween candy. No. One kid gets the most candy. That's the best back in the bunch, and he's going to be rewarded as such.
Well, and to your point, the idea you said lather up, and that made me think that in that inside zone game, it's a rhythm type of game, and so the more carries you get, the more you understand the rhythms of the offense or the rhythms of the defense, or you set up cuts, and you need to be able to do that with more carries. So yeah, that is part of the offense to me.
I'm going to take a different holiday approach to this, though. To me, it's more along the lines of an Easter egg hunt. The more eggs you find, you don't let the kid who's got 3 eggs and you've got 13 have a couple just because he's only got 3 eggs. The hell with that kid. I train my kids on how to find Easter eggs, and you shove that little kid who's trying to get close. Get his ass out of the way. Go in there and get the Easter eggs.
It's Darwinism, man. That kid's got to learn sometime to be able to find those eggs.
Not my fault if you didn't, prepare him before the thing took place. I mean, we work hard around here for the.
It's an ugly world out there. If the kid can't find eggs now, just wait till he's or she. In your case, Jamie, just wait till she's like 22 and in the real world.
That's right.
Nobody's going to help you find those eggs. Mama Bradford and Daddy Bradford, they're going to be vacationing in South Dakota. You're out there finding your own eggs.
Mm-hmm. That's right. All right, PT, fair or foul? We're going to let you go on this. Fair or foul? Fair or foul? South Carolina has a top 5 wide receiver yardage-wise in the SEC in 2026.
It's going to have to be fair if we want to accomplish our goals. That I'll say that. If we want to accomplish our goals, it's going to have to be fair, and it's going to have to be Nick Harbor.
I was going to say,
further.
yeah.
If we want to win 9 games, if we want to win 10 games, that's going to happen. And so, if it doesn't happen, we'll have a different conversation. But that's going to happen.
At Arkansas, Bryles had a wide receiver finish the season ranked 4th. He had one finish ranked 5th, and he had one finish ranked 6th for an average of 5. That's where we came up with.
One of those dudes was a stud.
Treylon Burks, yeah, pretty good.
There's another one too. He had some. Believe it or not, Arkansas had some dudes at wideout back then. But yeah, Burks certainly was a headliner. But there's another one I'm thinking of, and I can't remember his name. So I'll work on it.
He went to. I think he played for Denver. I can't think of his name either. But I know he's talking about.
Like an NFL guy, yeah. And it wasn't Burks, but anyway, that's a story for another time.
And this, that, and the other. Yeah, well. PT, great to see you. As always, we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Next Tuesday, we'll have a scrimmage under our belt and maybe some intel out of that. I have a feeling we will. But have a wonderful week, man, and welcome back to the school year. And whoever gets you and Langston in there reading first, they're the big winners this August of 2026.
Appreciate y'all. Remember, leave a little bit early. Leave a little bit early. There's gonna be traffic and buses and all that stuff. So leave a little bit early and get out the way.
That's right. That's right. Leave a little early. That's exactly. I saw a kid miss the bus this morning. As a matter of fact, crazy. Correct. See you, brother. Thank you. There you go, Preston Thorne. All right, Mike, take us to a quick TO here.
Yes, sir. Let's take you to the one and only Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage, ready to take all your mortgage requests today, tomorrow. Hell, you can call him over the weekend. Harass the man. He's got going on in his personal life. I mean, he's not raising a bunch of kids like Jamie Bradford is. He's not speaking at the Kiwanis Club. He's not really making a difference in the community. What he is doing, he's saving you money on your mortgage. He plays golf. He watches Jaws. and he gives you the best mortgage you can possibly muster, whether it's a refi or a new loan, a jumbo loan, a construction loan. A lot of first-time loans for a lot of our listeners out there have been done through the one and only Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. So now that you know that, what are you going to do? You're going to remember this phone number, 803-238-0111, 803-238-0111. That's Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage. Call him today, even if it's just for a little friendly advice. He won't turn you down. He won't lead you astray. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage will take care of you and all your needs when it comes to anything in the realm of mortgages.
It is 10:52. We'll hit a quick timeout. And when we return, we'll wrap up hour one here on the morning show.
Subscribe to thebigspur.com. Proud partners of On3.
Gamecock Traditions is your Nike superstore and your home for anything and everything with a South Carolina logo. Visit us in the Midlands and order online at GamecockTraditions.com. Go Gamecocks!
Looking for thrills? Then welcome to the South Carolina Education Lottery, where every chance at a win comes with a chance of a whiff.
Wait, what? What does she have to be so happy about?
Well, quite a bit, Jeff. That face right there, that's a face that says fun. But when the game stops being fun and that face goes away, it might be time to take a break.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks. Mystery voice?
No problem, Jeff. Playing for fun makes you a better player, and a better player is a better you.
You know, in Gamecock Country, home truly means more. And whether you're buying or selling a home, Renee Fryer brings local market expertise and personal care to every move because it means more. Mike here for Renee Fryer with Home Advantage Realty. No matter where you are in the state of South Carolina, she will make sure you have the advantage on your side. That's Home Advantage Realty, and that's Renee Fryer, always an easy phone call away. 803-271-4777. Make sure you have the home field advantage with Renee Fryer of Home Advantage Realty.
Whether it's fireside or poolside, if it's time to watch the Gamecocks, Palm Casual will make your outdoor space the best it can be. Visit palmcasual.com and come see us at one of our South Carolina locations. Go Gamecocks!
Today and every day, we celebrate our great state of South Carolina. This week, our hometown highlight takes us to the PD in Lake City, home of the great Darla Moore and our friends in Johnsonville. We love the PD.
Hey guys, this is Mason West with the West Law Firm. We want to say hey to all our friends and family out in Lake City and the Johnsonville areas. This is a great football part of the state. We can help y'all out in any way. Give us a call, 843-897-7525.
You're tuned into Inside the Gamecocks, presented by the West Law Firm and Resto Pros of the Midlands. Part of the Chief Sports Network. Go Gamecocks!
All right, it's going to be a really quick segment. Palm Casual presents our coverage of South Carolina football. Enjoy the Gamecocks outdoors this year. PalmCasual.com is the best outdoor furniture you can find. I can personally attest to that. So can Mike, and so can thousands of others across the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida. I have a trivia question for you.
Sure.
And if you can't answer it here in the last couple of minutes, it's okay. You can sit on it and answer it. Maybe you can answer it as part of the JT's Kia drive around the SEC. So on 3, of course, Chris Lowe yesterday released the 2026 preseason All-America football teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first team quarterback, according to Chris Lowe, is Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss. All right. And then he's got 2 tailbacks, both out of the SEC. One, Ahmad Hardy. The other, Kewan Lacey. When is the last time, and we'll go with the postseason here. When is the last time a quarterback and a running back from the same team finished as first team All-Americans in the postseason?
For their work in the regular season.
Correct. Yeah.
No, I'm going to need time on that one.
Okay, fair enough. I know it's not as far back as you think, though. I was going into the way.
Is it SEC?
It is an SEC program. Yes.
First team All-American quarterback, first team All-American running back.
Correct. Postseason team. Yep. It's a good question, isn't it?
I like it. I like it a lot.
That'll narrow it down for you.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I start thinking of the first team All-SEC quarterbacks, right?
Right.
And you said it's not that long ago.
No, it's not as far back. Like I thought, boy, that had to be. And I was a little caught off guard. It's fairly recent. Fairly recent.
I'm trying to think of, oh gosh, who was the quarterback when Derrick Henry was at Alabama?
Well, I think
am I in the right?
You're close. It's not Henry.
Oh, it's not Henry. Okay,
but you're
I'm in the right. I'm probably in the right zip code wherever Tuscaloosa is. How about Mark Ingram? And
too far back.
Too far back. Okay.
Think about it. Just think about it.
I will think about it over the timeout, and who knows? Maybe it'll make a cameo in the JT's Kia drive around the SEC.
That sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to taking a ride. I'd love to get some camp intel here. We know you've got some schematics on what's happening up at Tennessee, the inside report on who their starting quarterback is, and much more.
Yeah.
So this is there's a lot in the trunk of this Kia Telluride.
Well, but the good news is it's spacious, so we can fit it in the Telluride.
That's a good point.
You know, some of these other cars, you wouldn't be able to do that. No, you're not pulling that off in a Prius, I'll tell you that much.
You put a whole offensive line in the back of a Kia Telluride.
You could.
We'll prove
very comfortably. We'll prove it in the next segment, yes.
Join thebigspur.com and Gamecock Central today for the best Gamecock coverage in South Carolina. Proud partners of On 3.
Whether it's fireside or poolside, if it's time to watch the Gamecocks, Palm Casual will make your outdoor space the best it can be. Visit palmcasual.com and come see us at one of our South Carolina locations. Go Gamecocks!
Why are you throwing all that money over the falls? If you're buying a Honda or Toyota, that's exactly what you're doing. Look at the Kia Sorento. Get a third-row SUV for $8,000 less than the Highlander. Toyota only has a 5-year warranty. JT's Kia has a 1,000,000-mile warranty.
Don't forget JT's Advantage Package. Oil changes, roadside assistance, and so much more.
Choosing a Sorento over a Highlander is a no-brainer. More features, better warranty, and you save over $8,000.
We're serious about saving you money.
Killian Road, I-77, or Greystone Boulevard.
JT's Kia.
Shopping at Gamecock Traditions is easy. Just pick up your phone. Type in GamecockTraditions.com. Select your items and purchase. They will ship it to your doorstep. GamecockTraditions.com.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
Sell your quality sports and fitness equipment to Play It Again Sports and get paid. Recycling your in-demand sports gear keeps it available in your community. Sell, buy, trade, and win with Play It Again Sports.
If you need a new fence, railings, even new columns, there is only one call in South Carolina. Gamecock great, Ryan Brewer. Over 15 years in the industry. Visit ryanbrewer.net today.
Watch JC and Morgan every week on the Chief Sports Network. Now back to ITG. You're tuned into Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, part of the Chief Sports Network, proudly presented by the West Law Firm, and brought to you in partnership with Resto Pros of the Midlands. Go Gamecocks!
It's now time to take a drive around the SEC, presented by JT's Kia across South Carolina.
Whoa, big gulp, son. All right. Well, see you later.
The home of JT's Advantage Package.
On the road again.
Featuring tire rotations,
Just
oil
can't wait to
changes,
get
and
on the
more.
road again. Woohoo! The life I love is making music with my friends. And I can't wait to get on the road again.
Are we there yet?
No. On the road again. Going places that I've never been.
Are we there yet?
No. Seeing things that I may never see again. I can't wait to get on the road again.
Are we there yet?
No! On the road again. Like a band of gypsies, we go down the highway.
Make your next trip reliable with JT's Kia. It's time to get on the road again.
Kia Telluride in America, Mike?
Absolutely. I'm going to pick it up at one of several locations, Killian Road, Greystone Boulevard. I might even go to the well of the plentiful five-star defensive backs, Rock Hill, South Carolina. A few good defensive ends have come out of there too, including Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
But you can also get your Kia at those locations. We won't be driving over any fences during this segment with our Kia, but if we did, we would drive over a Ryan Brewer fence. And you know what? It would probably put a pretty strong dent in the Kia, because that's how strong Ryan Brewer fences are. But then he could just build a new one for you, and it'd probably be covered by insurance from Gary Patterson. Do you see what I did there? Don't try that at home, kids. Okay, SEC battles. You kind of set that up, Jamie. You put that on a tee. So I find it interesting. The top three. There's more than three, and I'll get to all of them in a second. But the top three are all Gamecock opponents. Did you know? Did you know? Alabama, Gamecock opponent. Will it be Keelan Russell or Austin Mack? I'm going to go ahead and start making guesses on this, educated guesses, theories, if you will, on who is going to start the most amount of games. In other words, Austin Mack could start early. He might have a leg up on scheme and just kind of being a stabilizing force. But I think Keelan's talent long-term takes over.
Okay.
So by the time Carolina faces Alabama, my guess is it'll be Keelan Russell, and my guess is it'll be Keelan Russell for the majority of the 12 games. Agree or disagree?
That's hard. I don't know that I agree.
Okay. That's okay. It's good.
And the reason for that isn't necessarily because like I've got some insider piece.
Yeah, none of this is intel. We're not pretending to have intel that Tennessee people don't even have, or Alabama people don't even have.
Yeah, I think there is something to be said for Austin Mack and his understanding of what Kalen DeBoer wants out there. And Kalen DeBoer needs to win a bunch of football games. So I just don't know that I can go that far yet, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And look, Austin Mack is not chopped liver. He's not like just somebody that you're going there. Well, he'd be a great game manager. I mentioned the familiarity. Again, Mack came from Washington, was a Kalen DeBoer guy there. He's 6'6", 232 pounds. He doesn't have the explosiveness of a Keelan Russell.
Right.
Well, I still think they want to be the guy. Now, obviously, something is not clicking entirely. Otherwise, Keelan Russell would have been named the guy.
Yeah.
Right?
I think, I don't know if he would have been named, but I do feel like we would have, I think something would be out there that's kind of leaning towards him. Even though it's really early. It's really early. I get it. But I just...
You might be right. I think that is the more conservative play for Alabama. I just think over time, Keelan Russell takes over. Who knows? I don't think Kalen DeBoer knows the answer. I'm sure he's leaning some way, and he's not going to tell any of the Alabama media. Certainly not going to tell us. But it's still a battle. I'll say when Carolina heads on over to the friendly confines of Bryant-Denny Stadium, it's Keelan Russell. But we shall see. Another one.
I don't want you to move too far just yet because you led off with Alabama and a quarterback.
Yeah.
Do you want to take one more crack at this trivia question so we can put it to bed?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I completely forgot about that. I was still thinking about the other Arkansas wide receiver.
Oh.
And I had that had success. And what the guys that I was thinking of had, somebody said Cortland Sutton. He was SMU. I was thinking of Joe Adams, and I was thinking of Jarius Wright, but they predated Bryles at Arkansas.
Yeah, Burks
they were
was the main
studs.
guy.
Burks was his main guy during his time frame there, and he was outstanding.
Really good. Almost 2 1,000-yard seasons for Burks. Actually.
Yeah. Now, was he the physical freak that Nick Harper? No, but he was a better player than Nick Harper is at this point in time. So I'm going to guess it's an Alabama quarterback and running back.
Yes, that's true.
But I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to completely get which two it is. So go ahead and break it for me.
Well, one would be Mac Jones.
Oh.
And the other would be Najee Harris.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Keep in mind, Devontae Smith was also a first-teamer that season at wide receiver. So Alabama had a running back,
and a Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah. And a Heisman winner. Mac Jones he lit it up that year. He really did. He had the mobility of a cement truck. But you know what? If you got talent around you, you can read defenses, throw it in tight windows. You can win a lot of ball games.
Look, I know that was the COVID year and all that. I get it. But there is an argument to be made that is one of the more amazing seasons that's ever been played in college football. Right. Because Alabama was without players just like everybody else. And the ones that they weren't without, able to keep them healthy, get them on the field, having to play a 10-game SEC schedule, and then get into the postseason that year. And if I remember correctly, I know they beat Ohio State for the title, but I think it was Notre Dame they beat pretty bad in the semifinal as well. Well,
you hit on the biggest thing. It was an all-SEC 10-game slate.
Yeah.
Which we'll probably never see again in our lifetime. And they won all 10.
Not knowing who you might or might not have until, Friday night.
Yeah.
Because
Saturday
morning, you're out.
There's a lot of things I will take away from 2020 where it's like put an asterisk behind that. Sorry, LeBron. The Lakers and their little bubble title, their 50-game bubble title. The Dodgers, part of part of figuring out who is really good in MLB is the 162. You take the 162 out, which is going to happen next year. It's not the same. But college football in 2020, you played 10 conference games in the SEC, you ran the table, and then you won every game in the postseason. I'm not going to take away from that.
No.
There's no asterisk for me on that. They were the best, period.
Yeah, and they scored so many points. I remember their defense was really good. I know they gave up almost like 50 against Ole Miss earlier in the season, but I remember like this did not happen, but when they were playing Florida in the SEC title that year, it's like, what if they score 46? What are you going to do? Well, hell, we'll just score 50. And I think he scored like 54 or something in the game. You just couldn't outscore them. I mean, they were just unreal.
No. And look, Mac was just precise as hell, man. I mean, he was like Mendoza-like, and I say this all the time. There's always more than one way to skin a cat. For years and years, there was this kind of underground movement to say that the day and age of the pocket passer is over. You got to be able to be a freakish athlete and run all over the place. Jamie, go look at how fast is Sam Darnold?
Yeah, he's not fleet of foot.
He's not fleet of foot. They just won a Super Bowl last year. Tom Brady, you could outrun Tom Brady. He won 7 of them. Like that whole notion that you can't win with a pocket passer is entirely flawed. Fernando Mendoza was not a great runner last year. They go 16-0 at Indiana. Was he a game manager? No. But that's just a way to kind of take a shot at somebody because you'd rather have a quarterback that's more mobile. You can win with a mobile quarterback, and you can win with an immobile quarterback. Nick Saban did it with both, right? Mm-hmm. You go back to Greg McElroy. He couldn't move.
Yeah.
Tua wasn't really a great mover. He was good enough. And then the most electric was Jalen Milroe, and he got worse. And by his last year, he just couldn't get it done. Yeah. So I say all that to say, like, that whole notion and narrative that you have to have a mobile quarterback to win is not, and I've said this many times about Art Briles. He has won with both types of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And his offenses have produced ridiculous numbers with both. Because whoever it is next year might be athletic, but he's not going to be when Norris Sellers athletic, right? We can all agree on that? I think. Did I lose you? Did I lose Jamie Bradford? Oh, Jamie froze. Oh, my goodness. And what a look that is.
I know. I mean, it's not that bad, but it could be worse. I
can't tell. Is that Jamie angry? Is that Jamie focused? Is that Jamie alarmed by some news that just came across?
You said he just lost power, which is great.
Okay, leave that face up there. I like that.
I know. Yeah, it's good. I like
that's
it.
The ghost of Jamie Bradford will be overlooking the rest of this segment. Okay, Mad Dog, looks like it's me and you the rest of the way.
All right, we'll take
it. And virtual Jamie Bradford. So going back to the quarterback battles, the other one that's also a Carolina opponent, Tennessee. You've got redshirt freshman George McIntyre and 5-star true freshman Faison Brandon splitting the reps. I'm going to put my chips on the table that Brandon, the true freshman, gets the majority of the snaps, Phil.
I like that. I don't... If you got a redshirt freshman who's competing with anybody on the team, and we saw it here at Carolina with Lenore Sellers, you put the guy out there, right? Mm-hmm. You get, even if worst case scenario is you don't have, a playoff season, you get a year experience under his belt, and that's just going to pay dividends.
I think so too, and just early returns from the little bit I've kind of poked and prodded into Knoxville camp. Brandon's looking awfully good. Yeah. And remember the stat I gave you yesterday on the show. Tennessee is the only program in college football to have 3 consecutive 1,000-yard rushers, all different backs. Well, this year they returned Deshaun Bishop, who ran for 1,076 and 15 touchdowns last year. So they're going to be able to run because they always do in Josh Heupel's offense.
Yeah.
So that takes a little bit of pressure off whoever the signal caller is. Next year in 2027, they got a 5-star running back in David Gabriel. So it looks like they've got that position pretty shored up for a while. But I'll put my chips on the table by the time Carolina host Tennessee. My quote-unquote target game of the year, it'll be the freshman, Brandon under center. And then finally, Florida, another Gamecock opponent, Aaron Philo, who followed Buster Faulkner, the former OC at Tech, and he's an air raid guy. You didn't see that at Georgia Tech because they don't have the personnel, but they will throw the ball there. You need to be able to throw it. Aaron Philo versus Tramel Jones. I'm going to put my chips, Phil, on Aaron Philo by the time Carolina meets Florida. It'll be Philo. I think it's going to be Philo the whole way, but we'll see. I'll put my chips on Philo.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I'd be going with him too. His is the name that I keep hearing the most. So
yeah.
I think at this point in the year, it's like if you're hearing that, then he's probably the guy to beat. Right?
I think, yeah, and I think just the advantage of knowing Faulkner and having that relationship, I think that even if Jones, who apparently had a really good spring game for anybody who saw it, Jones might be the more dazzling of the two, but I think Philo wins the job. The other two that are still having battles right now out of the 16 SEC programs, there are 5 that really haven't declared a starter. Vanderbilt has the 5-star Jared Curtis matching up against Blaze Berlowitz and Whit Muschamp to replace Diego Pavia. And Arkansas, Gamecock opponent, KJ Jackson holds a slight edge in experience over Memphis transfer AJ Hill. I think they're going to go with Jackson personally, but those are the 5, and 4 of them are Gamecock opponents, which is not a bad deal. You wouldn't mind all just completely struggle to anguish over that decision before you play Carolina on the schedule. Okay, some drive-bys here and there. The coaches poll came out. I don't know if you put any more stock in this. People always joke about the fact, well, the coaches just have their SID fill it out. I'm sure Steve Fink had to fill out more than a few in his time. If there's one poll that the coaches justifiably could spend a little time on, it's the preseason poll, Phil. I mean, you're not preparing for an opponent right now. You're still nearly a month away from the first game. You could put a little time and effort into this. So the coaches poll has Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Indiana, Miami, A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss in the top 10. Alabama, 11, followed by Texas Tech, LSU, Southern Cal, BYU, Michigan, Penn State, Tennessee, Washington, SMU, and then Utah, Iowa, Clemson. I'm not even sure if most Clemson fans think they're in the top 25. Houston and Missouri 25th. Did you notice the other receiving votes category, Phil?
Yeah, they got Carolina comes in at 30th, Florida at 27, and everybody's favorite new program, Illinois.
The Fighting Bielema's, yeah.
That's right. And my dark horse for the ACC, Louisville, at 26.
Yeah, no, I like your dark horse. I like your dark horse a lot. I was reading one of the polls out there of teams that could be an upset champion of their league. Yes. The person for the SEC picked Oklahoma, but in the ACC, it was your Mad Dogs, Louisville Cardinals.
That's right. Hey, good combination of coaching and experience and a soft league. So
yeah,
why not?
I don't think you're telling any lies there. And I've always been a big Brom guy. Breakdown by conference. That's the SEC with 9, Big Ten 8, Big 12 4, and there's the ACC with 3, and then of course Notre Dame, the Independent 1. The AP poll, by the way, if you're waiting on eggshells for that, that'll be next Monday at 12 p.m.
Oh,
12 p.m.
Can't wait. Bated breath.
I thought this was interesting. This is not SEC, but did you see what Akron is doing as a little bit of a promotional tool?
I have missed this.
Oh, this is great. So we all like to play. The virtual Jamie Bradford has taken the rest of the show off the actual live Jamie Bradford, who looks a lot happier than your frozen face. It was resting Bradford face.
We lost power.
resting Bradford face.
Just as JC texted me and Phil and said he's under a tornado warning, I lost power.
Right.
Oh, goodness.
Which is bizarre.
That's crazy. Well, you're back now, and that's what matters. And your timing is perfect because we have a promotion that I think you'll want to take part in. So we like to play caller here, right? What's been the talk of the offseason? Thank goodness, new OC, new scheme, new this, new that. Here's what we should look at. Here's what'll help the offense hum. Well, Akron, the Zips, they're taking it to a new level. In an effort to sell college football season tickets, they're offering their college football, their fan base, the chance of a lifetime. And apparently it's working well. Yeah. A promotion announced by the school will provide one lucky winner a chance to be the offensive coordinator of the game. The winner will get to plan Akron's opening drive in the Zips home opener against Robert Morris. When those two teams meet, you can throw out the records. That'll be on September the 12th. Every season ticket holder will be entered in the promotion. And again, if you win, you get to call the plays. Now, there are some caveats here. The coach can still override it. You know, you can't just like call. I remember this play I ran back in JV football, man. It's the triple reverse and the throw back to the quarterback, and then he pitches to the left tackle, and old Billy Bob runs it in. They can override that.
Yeah,
but you can be a part of it.
Oh, it's a oopie-oop.
Oopie-oop. Oopie-oop. You call the plays I send in there, boy. West Canaan, I don't need your life, Dad.
So the question that I have about this is because I know they're like going to condense the playbook too. You know, it's like
right.
There's going to be like 5 plays on this thing, you know, and basically things that can't hurt them. But I have a lot of questions because I heard about this last week, and when I heard about it, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, okay, are they going to rig it? Oh, you know, John Smith, he won. John Smith happens to be like some, 7-time high school football coach of the year. They just happen to draw his name, but he's been calling plays for 20 plus years in the state of Ohio. The other thing is, what if the first play he calls like goes to the house?
Yeah.
And then
you hire him.
Yeah, and then like, what is their response? Like, the hell, Mike?
I don't know who the OC at Akron is, but you do not want that opening drive to score a touchdown. Like, methodically move down the field and then turn around and have to punt it, and the next, say 2 drives. Like Robert Morris just finds some backbone and stops it. Could you imagine? I mean, just think about how it would be down here, right? Like the weeping and wailing.
Oh my goodness! This is what happens when you let the fan base call the plays.
Look, Beamer can't hire an offensive coordinator better than a fan in the stands. I can hear it now. My goodness.
Oh my goodness. By the way, something you really don't want to do is call an Akron game on a Wednesday night in November, which I did a couple of times with Cole Kublik, when it's about like 11 degrees and there's 37 fans, and that's a big stadium. They have a large football stadium, so it's a lot of aluminum showing on some of those games. Some other tidbits, little drive-bys here. Alabama, Ryan Williams added 11 pounds of lean mass and ran a 23.2 miles per hour this summer.
Was he 19 now?
He's now up to 19. We no longer have to say he's 17. We no longer have to say he's 18. And I'll be damned if we have to say he's 19. Can we just say he's a junior and leave it at that?
That's right. He's a junior or third year. However, what are we doing? What are we doing with this?
Well, we got 5 and 5 years now, right?
Yeah. So now it's like he's a first year, second year, third year.
Yeah, he's a third year guy. There's no more red shirt. We never have to use that term again.
Draft eligible after this season.
He's definitely draft eligible. Yes. Georgia wide receiver Talon Taylor. Remember when I went over the schools, the last 1,000-yard wide receiver, and I think Auburn has the biggest drought, but they're right up there. I think Terrence Edwards was the last guy. It's been 20 years.
Yeah.
They have not had great luck with wideouts overall. Even the good ones did not exactly tear it up at Georgia, but they think Talon Taylor, a 5-star recruit entering last season, is due for a big year. If you're in a fantasy college football league, this could be a steal. As a senior in high school, he netted 2,200 all-purpose yards. He could help fill a major void left by the departing Zachariah Branch, who was really good for Georgia. And bad news for Tennessee, linebacker Jaden Harmon will miss the 2026 season with a torn ACL. Okay, so Texas has a much more difficult schedule. They play a bunch of ranked teams. I'm sure many people saw the Peter Burns tweet that was kind of nullified. We love Pete. I've known Pete a long time. Good dude. Just happened to make a mistake on Twitter. He tried to compare who plays the most top 25 opponents. Phil, if you can cue cut 1 with Herbie on Dan Patrick, I'll give you a little tap dance here. So I gave you the stat last week, the Big Ten versus the SEC. In the last 3 years, the Big Ten's only 12-11. It's not like they've been dominating the SEC. Herbie was asked by Dan if it's time to panic, and he came up with a stat for the last 2 years, which is more favorable to the Big Ten. Do we have that ready?
I got it ready to roll. Here we are.
All right, let's go ahead and roll with what Herbie had to say.
The SEC is, for the last 3 years, watch the Big Ten cash in and win championships.
Yeah.
If we go, at what point is there panic in the SEC? This is 3 in a row.
Yep.
If you get to 4.
Dan, I think we passed it, personally.
Oh.
I don't think you can argue with the results, right? I mean, it's not just 3 in a row. What people are overlooking, for me anyway, is the head-to-head. I think the Big Ten is 6-2 against the SEC in the last 2 years. And when it was the other way around, that's all you heard about. Well, the Big Ten can't play with the SEC. It wasn't just the national titles. It was turning on New Year's Day and watching, that second-tier bowl game and the SEC blowing out the Big Ten. And, that's what we used to talk about. Geez, look at the difference. I personally, if you look for the why, I think in this new era that we're in, I think the Big Ten has proven to do a better job of keeping their players more invested in their team. Meaning, hey, if we're 7-3 or we're 8-4 and we're going to the Outback Bowl or the Citrus Bowl or whatever it is, I feel like SEC players are like, as soon as they're out of the playoff, I feel like they're like them and their agent, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Big Ten is doing a much better job of keeping them invested to the finish line. Maybe the SEC will learn from this, and I don't know what they can do to tweak it. But I noticed that when South Carolina plays Illinois in a bowl game, and you're watching, one team looks really inspired, and one team doesn't. Iowa plays Vandy. I mean, these are good teams during the regular season. You turn it on, and one team looks really fired up to be there. It's almost like the Big Ten is tired of hearing about the SEC collectively, and they're out to kick some ass. And the SEC's like, whatever, I'm going to the NFL, I'm transferring. They're just not invested in this new era. And not to mention the way the funds now are being spread out evenly throughout the entire country. So I think the fans of the SEC, maybe the players don't care, but the fans of the SEC are tired already of hearing about the Big Ten.
The SEC is, for the last 3 years, watch the Big Ten.
So there's a lot to unpack there. I agree with a lot of what Herbie said. Hey, Jamie's face turned into a QR code. Click on Jamie's face and you'll get a discount on a membership. Look, we all watched the Illinois-South Carolina game. I don't think Carolina's problem was a lack of motivation. Other than Nick Emmanwori quitting at halftime, they just got beat. Vanderbilt just got beat. Yes, there's been some opt-outs. Everybody has some opt-outs. I don't think the SEC needs to offer any excuses. The Big Ten has won in the games that have mattered most in the playoff, too. I mean, Indiana just rolled up on Alabama, a 5-touchdown win. And the last 3 champions have been from the Big Ten. There's no excuses. But, again, 12-11, it's not as if the Big Ten has run roughshod over the SEC. I'm not going to play the Joel Klatt cut, but he says that the Big Ten coaches he talks to want an SEC Big Ten challenge like we have in basketball. I'll believe it when I see it. Like, I would love to see that. I think fans would love to see that, but I don't think that's going to happen, Jamie Bradford, who's now back breathing.
I don't know what's going on. What benefit do do we get out of that? Just out of curiosity. So, like, if the SEC, I mean, you're not gonna do. There's 18 teams in the Big Ten. There's 16 in the SEC. So it's not like they're all going to be able to play one another every year.
Right.
Okay. So let's say you do 8 games. Man, let's say the SEC wins 6 and the Big Ten wins 2. Is that somehow going to change how the playoff is selected and seeded every year? Like, what's the point? Why would you? I'm not scared of it. I'm just saying, like, why do we need to see something like that?
What you're saying is what coaches, I think, deep down, in places you don't want to talk about, Lieutenant Weinberg, that's what they're thinking. What's the advantage for me? What's in it for moi, other than a potential additional loss?
Mm-hmm.
But if we went by that logic, before the SEC went to 9 and all these great matchups that we would have had, including Carolina, Miami, were canceled, nobody would ever play anybody worth a damn at a conference. You just play your conference games and schedule nothing but lightweights the rest of the way. That would be college football from here until kingdom come. There's still programs that are willing to challenge themselves in the non-con. And I could make the argument, Jamie, while coaches see it that way, especially when we get an expanded playoff, whether it's 16, 24, or now 20 has entered the mix, that hopefully the intelligence factor will improve on the committee, where they'll realize strength of record is a thing and it means something. Texas should have been in the playoff last year. I'm sorry. If they didn't play Ohio State and they played Western Michigan, they would have been. You wouldn't have denied them. So you dinged them for a one-possession road loss to Ohio State? That's what we're doing now? Okay. Then what's my motivation to play? And the SEC coaches will tell you, we were told by going to 9 conference games, we'll expand the playoff. Well, the playoff as of right now is still 12, so they felt like they were sold a bill of goods. One final thing, on the interest of time, we'll just wrap up. For those that are concerned about quarterback rankings and alike, and who's on it and who's not on it, where my guy is ranked and where other guys are ranked, just remember, a year ago, when SEC quarterbacks were ranked, it was completely wrong. And I'm not picking on one guy, but it was entirely wrong. And I don't know if Phil can dial it up, but Phil, if you can, I'll just read it verbally. Josh Pate, friend of the program.
I got it. Yeah.
There we go. So, and I'm not picking on Josh. He's now with the Bussin' with the Boys guys. So they were kind of giving him a hard time. They were razzing him about this. Kind of a good give and take. And they posted this yesterday. Josh's top 10 SEC quarterbacks a year ago. Lagway, complete bust. He's now at Baylor. Arch Manning was a bust for one half of the year before he came on, but he certainly didn't light the world on fire like a lot of people thought he would. Lenora Sellers, down year. Garrett Nussmeier, really down year. John Mateer was very good before the injury and then did not play particularly well. Jackson Arnold, complete bust. Taylor Green, Marcel Reed, did not end it well at all. And Pavia was a Heisman finalist. So you don't know what you don't know.
You skipped one who didn't even play after he got hurt, Austin Simmons.
Oh, I did. Oh, my bad. I skipped Austin. Yeah, Austin couldn't get his job back.
Yeah.
Now, part of that is because Trinidad Chambliss was that good. I'm fascinated on what Austin Simmons is going to look like this year.
I mean, he got Wally pipped.
He completely got pipped.
Yeah.
I think he's actually pretty good. I think Austin Simmons will actually play some good football this year. But
Ahmad Hardy is his friend.
You got that right. Best friend of a quarterback, great running game. Can't say it enough. So that'll do it for this week's installment of the JT's Key Drive Around the SEC. Maestro, take us out, please.
All right, it is 11:35. We'll try to hang on here as long as we can. I don't know what's going on, but
is it raining where you are? Is it storming?
No, it's the first time it's been blue skies in like a week. I did, and yesterday it dumped and thundered and lightning, nothing. But today the kids are back in school, so maybe somebody's, maybe I don't know, maybe one of those little rascals is over there cutting lines or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, Anyways, aside from that, believe it or not, we are actually powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston, electricbikescharleston.com. If you get yourself an electric bike, you'll never lose power in your home.
That's right.
Electric Bikes of Charleston.
See if she can set up where you could have a cycle hooked up to your generator, so when the power goes out, you can just bike your way to light and freedom.
It's like your own little hamster wheel. electricbikescharleston.com. We'll step aside. There are, I mentioned one this morning on the message boards. There are new rules in college football this year. And I'm really curious if any of you think that one rule in particular we will see at all in college football. So we'll talk about that and more when we return.
Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions are your local home protection experts. Crawl space encapsulation, sump pump and drain installs, humidity control, duct cleaning, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and French drains. We do it all. Visit dryspacecs.com. dryspacecs.com. Go Gamecocks.
Is this your golf game? It doesn't have to be. Visit McKellarEnterprises.org and improve your game today.
Test ride at Electric Bikes of Charleston today. Road trip ready. Ride comfortably. Forget road fatigue. The Velotric Fold 1 Plus features our exclusive Comfort Max frame design for an effortless, upright riding posture and a low step through. With an adjustable seat and stem, you'll be feeling great and ready for the next campsite adventure. Your back will thank you. Visit Electric Bikes of Charleston. electricbikescharleston.com.
You know, in Gamecock country, home truly means more. And whether you're buying or selling a home, Renee Fryer brings local market expertise and personal care to every move because it means more. Mike here for Renee Fryer with Home Advantage Realty. No matter where you are in the state of South Carolina, she will make sure you have the advantage on your side. That's Home Advantage Realty, and that's Renee Fryer, always an easy phone call away. 803-271-4777. Make sure you have the home field advantage with Renee Fryer of Home Advantage Realty.
Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage can help you save big today anywhere in South Carolina. Over 27 years experience. Visit ggmortgage.com. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage says go Gamecocks.
New year, better floors. Now is the time. Refinish your hardwood floors with Recoat Revolution. Beautiful like new floors in just one day. No dust, affordable, and 5 stars. Give us a call in South Carolina, 803-397-1365. Or visit us at recoatrevolution.com. Go Gamecocks!
Jeffrey's got space and a touchdown! Can you believe it? Touchdown! He caught on draft and scored!
This is ITG, presented by the South Carolina Education Lottery. Visit scheducationlottery.com. A win for education in the Palmetto State.
Your love lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know your love keep on lifting me higher, higher and higher. I sing your love keep on lifting me higher,
All right. Yeah, this is Phil. This isn't looking good for JC here.
I know.
This is
they got some serious weather going on up there in the southwestern suburbs of Chicago today.
Yeah. We've been communicating here during the break, and they got the power is totally out. The sirens are going off, and everybody's in the basement. So they got tornado warnings right now all around them. It's just not looking good. So we'll carry on here, and we'll see if JC's available or not available. I don't know, but so there's new rules in the sport. Remember, Shane Beamer's the mantra surrounding his name is Beamer Ball, right? Y'all know that Beamer Ball. Have you seen that?
I think I've
Heard about that.
Yeah, Beamer Ball.
More block kicks than any team in the last 6 years.
Yeah, and when you bring his dad into it, ever. I think that Shane from time to time has kind of sidestepped that a little bit. He's like, hey, Beamer Ball is winning, and we like to score too, stop people from scoring. Like that to me is Beamer Ball. But honestly, traditionally, it got its start with special teams, and there are rules changes this year that are going on. One, it's a big one. It's targeting. If you commit a targeting foul in the second half, you're no longer going to miss time in the next game or anything like that. They're kind of doing away with those things. But the fair catch kick is pretty intriguing to me, Mike and Phil, because if there's any group out there that you would think would know how to execute it, if they were in a position to execute it, you would think it would be under a guy like Shane Beamer. And the fair catch kick, I put it up this morning on the Big Spur, just seeing what people think about it. But we saw it in December of 2024 on a Thursday night NFL prime game that Kirk Herbstreit was calling. Y'all just had Kirk up there just a second ago with Al Michaels, and that was the first time we had seen it in 50 years. It was the Denver Broncos and the San Diego Chargers. And what happened was they kicked off and waved for a fair catch, it was a punt. It was a punt, and they waved for a fair catch. The return man did, and they ran into him. And so it was the end of the half, and he got an untimed down to be able to kick the football, and they did. They kicked a 57-yard field goal after the 15-yard penalty for roughing or for kick catch interference. And but what's interesting about it is because it's a free kick, the defense can't get within 10 yards. So, if you've got a timeout in the bag, Mike, Phil, if you're South Carolina and you've got a timeout in the bag and the clock is ticking down at the end of the first half, and let's say you've got the offense, not your offense, their offense, somewhat backed up on the field, this all of a sudden could be in play here, because you could let the clock tick all the way down to where there's no time on the clock, right? There's no time on the clock, especially if you believe they've got somewhat of a weak punter, and let's say they punt it out there to the 50-yard line or something like that. You could take. Now, is it likely that you make the kick? I don't know. I guess it depends on how the leg is of your kicker. But you can get an untimed down there with a fair catch kick. You're fair catching it and setting yourself up for a kick, and the defense can't get within 10 yards to try to block it. Will we see that? I don't know. I mean, you're probably trying to coach your guys too. Hey, go up there and see if you can't draw some interference or something on this thing to move us up a little bit. But it's very, very rare in the sport, but good special teams minds, I guess, like a Pete Limbo or something. There's probably a scenario where they work on things like this. I'll be curious to see if we see it at all this year in college football.
Go ahead, Phil.
I was just going to say, it's interesting because now you're going to train your punt returners. Okay, end of the game, if this guy shanks it, or if it doesn't come cleanly off his foot, you get to that ball. Normally you just let it kind of do whatever, right? Depending on whatever the score is. But now it's okay, if it's short and short enough, then you need to go get it as quickly as possible. Wave your hands like crazy because you're fair catching this ball. It doesn't matter. Even if you're running towards it to fair catch it, right? That's what it is. The ball doesn't have to just come to you where you are. So I think there is going to be another level of coaching on the special teams, for teams who are more inclined to put an emphasis on that third phase of the game, to look for situations where this is a possibility. I was not surprised in the least when that popped up, and it was that coach who called that, being Harbaugh himself, right? Like, if anybody would dig up some sort of archaic rule that's still, valid and hasn't been used for 50 years, it would be him. But yeah, I mean, because if you're waving for a fair catch and the kicking team is not paying attention, runs into you, boom, that's an extra, 10 yards. And you don't have to worry about the kick attempt being blocked because it's a free kick scenario. So I don't know if we'll see it, but I am sure teams will account for it in practice. Like I said, for those who are inclined to do so on special teams.
There are two things I think that are going to be certainly called often that I think are improvements. One is they changed offensive pass interference from 15 to 10.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty big deal. I think 15 was a little too stringent. In fact, I think that's what caused some officials to be a little bit reluctant to call it. Guys are pushing off left and right. It could clearly be called more than it is. But when it's 15 yards and it's a drive killer, I think sometimes officials keep the hanky in the pocket. Maybe you'll see a little more offensive pass interference. I know defensive backs would like to see that. And the other thing that I think most fans and most of us have been begging for years, they kind of fixed it. And by that, I'm talking about the disqualification for targeting.
Yeah.
So targeting will no longer get you, if you get a targeting penalty in the second half, you are no longer suspended for the first half of the next game. That is gone. Should have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
However, targeting fouls that are upheld in the first half, you still get tossed from the game. I just think this is where you could learn a thing or two from basketball, flagrant 1 versus flagrant 2. Mm-hmm. There are some targeting penalties that by the letter of the law are the penalty, and 15 yards is a huge, again, it could be a drive killer, or it could be giving the offense one hell of an opportunity to score if they didn't already have one. But to kick the player out, to me, it should have to be egregious. I still think we are making that way too punitive, where a guy by the letter of the law puts a hit on and it's outside the strike zone, or it's a defenseless player, whatever the case may be. You're going to go, if that happens on the third play of the game, he's gone for the rest of the game. Yeah. Not a fan. Still think that needs work.
Well, I mean, and what you're referencing here is a first-time offender. If you're a second-time offender for targeting, there is still a
correct.
You still got a suspension. Coming up.
And I could almost justify that, Jamie. Like if you start getting a reputation as I'd make it 3 personally. I think 2's too low a number. But if you start developing a reputation of a guy that's just a headhunter, I mean, we've had those before, especially in the NFL. Chuck Cecil comes to mind. If you want to go all the way back before we were, again, born, Jack Tatum is a name that some folks out there will know. If that's your rep and you're clearly trying to take the kill shot every opportunity you get, I don't mind you getting suspended. But make it 3, not 2. You could be a very fair player just trying to play the game the right way and get 2 flagrant penalties over the course of a 12-game regular season. And I'm assuming that
it's got to go to the postseason.
It's got to go to the postseason as well. So you could play as many as 15, 16 games. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might get a second targeting penalty. If you're playing a position like a strong safety, there's a very good chance you're going to get more than 1. Just playing aggressive football. So it's one thing I wish they made it better, but they didn't solve the problem in my eyes.
So I not to veer out of bounds on you here, Mike, but I want to go back to this fair catch kick thing because I'm just so intrigued by this. I can't get over this. So my understanding of this, let me read you two parts of the rule here. Let me make sure that my tiny little brain is comprehending this correctly, because you do have two options. You can actually, just do what you've always done, run a play, or you could fair catch kick. But here's two parts of this. Following the fair catch or awarded fair catch, the ball shall be put in play by a snap by the receiving team at the spot of the catch if the ball is caught. That's normal. That's how it's always been. Optionally, the ball may be put in play by a fair catch kick by the receiving team at the spot of the catch, meaning that's what you're choosing to do there is we're waving for a fair catch and we're going to kick it. The next line in this rule says, this selection for a fair catch kick must come from the head coach before the dead ball is next ready for play, and the decision is irrevocable. Following the ready for play, there is no option of selecting a fair catch kick. So my understanding is South Carolina and Mississippi State are playing in week 3. The Bulldogs are on their own 20-yard line. There's a few seconds left in the half. They're gonna punt the football. Shane Beamer at that point in time has to notify the, I'm assuming, head official here. We are waiving our right for a fair catch kick on this play. So they can't return the punt, and then they can't run a play after they fair catch it and receive the football. The only thing South Carolina will be able to do after the ball is punted and they have fair caught it officially, because you can still fumble it, turn it over, but they fair catch the football, the only thing they'll be able to do is attempt a field goal kick from there with the defense 10 yards behind the spot of the ball. Does that make sense? Are y'all understanding the same thing that I'm understanding here? He's got a signal. That's what we want. So basically the play's dead as long as you catch it.
I get it. I don't know how often it's actually going to come into play.
I don't know either. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I have no idea. I was confused. Like I thought I was under the understanding that if you just fair caught the football, then you would just notify the official, hey, we fair caught it, but we're going to kick it now. But it looks like you are basically letting them know before the punt even happens, or a kickoff for that matter, because you get a bunch of pooch kicks and stuff like that. This is a fair catch kick for us. So if you're defending it, if you're the punting team, if you're on offense, you're still going to defend it like you would any other time, because there's a chance that the receiving team can fumble the football. But after the receiving team maintains possession of the football, everything's dead, and the next play is going to be a kick. Everybody has to back up 10 yards. That's what I'm getting here. So guys like Jarvis Moss couldn't make a difference anymore. Smoke weed all week, and then
it has to be declared.
That's what it's saying. Must come from the head coach before the dead ball is before the dead ball. Yeah, before the dead ball.
So you've got it like, well, here's another thing you train your returners to do is to hold the ball for a second. That way you get to make a decision. That way it doesn't have to be, well, if he catches it between this yard line and this yard line.
You might not have that option. I mean, if they're down there covering you can't tell him to hold the ball. He's going to get killed.
No, it's a fair catch.
If
you're calling for the fair catch. Yeah. No, yeah. No, and I think that's what, because you're kind of going in there knowing what you're going to do. Like, this is an option for us. Like, because this is not going to be an option at all times. There's only very limited number of circumstances where this is even going to be in play. And like, if it's say you're down, but you've got the other team backed up into their own end zone and they're punting out of their end zone. Right. So it's like, that gives you a shot anyway if you got a decent kicker. So that's going to be in play. So then you just like, okay, you're going to fair catch it. You're not going to immediately hand it over to the zebra. You're going to hold it for a second. So that way before they spot the ball.
Okay. So then what I'm getting out of it, the advantage to this is if you choose to fair catch it, as opposed to trying to return it and gain yardage, get yourself closer, like in field goal position or something like that. If you do that, attempting to gain yardage, set yourself up for a better, closer field goal kick, they will be able to defend it like they've always defended it, just like a normal field goal. But if you fair catch it, you get the 10-yard cushion. That's what I'm understanding here.
Yeah, if you invoke the rule, if you invoke the rule, and it's an untimed down too. So
it doesn't matter if there's any time on the clock. That's irrelevant.
It's basically like a kickoff.
But that's why I'm confused as to whether you have to waive this before the kick. You have to signal this to the official before the kick is made. Because if you don't do that and they signal fair catch, then that's advantage to the receiving team because you're like, oh crap, the clock's running out. Let's signal. Like I would think you need to signal it before, so they know what your intent is. Because then you're taking advantage of the clock if the clock runs out and you hadn't already told them what you were going to do. You see what I'm saying? Like, how's that fair? The other team's going to be sitting there going, wait a second, the clock. He didn't say that they wanted a fair catch kick. The clock's out. The half's over. Like, that would be a debacle.
I'd say if he fair caught it and there were double zeros on the thing, you just run over there as the head coach and be like, hey, we're going to invoke the rule. Boom. Doesn't matter. Because I think isn't that what happened in the Chargers instance? Was that it was at the end of the game and everybody thought the game was over and they're like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
No, we get one untimed down to try to make a kick between the uprights.
I think we will see this. I'm not going to say often. We will see this more than we think that we will in college football because college punters play college football. This isn't the NFL where everybody's booming at 50, 60 yards. You're going to take chances to getting some shanks and stuff like that. Now, how does that happen? How does
you
that
can
work?
drop kick it too. It doesn't have to be a held. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Boy, wouldn't it be awkward to lose a game like that?
Wouldn't it be great to win one like that?
I mean, if you're the strategy there is Mike Morgan is coaching the other team, okay, and you're up 3 points, Mike, and you have to punt the football. You're out of timeouts. So it's fourth down. You have to punt the football. But you're taking a risk here. If you punt the football and it's not a very good punt, they could deploy a fair catch kick and have a shot at tying the game, right? Okay? If this rule is in play, which it will be. So what do? Do you just tell your punter to turn around and run out of the back of the end zone and take the 2-point safety and the 1-point win? Or, I mean,
you find the Aussie on your team that can rugby punt this thing and be like, boy, if that ball's in the air over 15 yards, you're off.
Yeah.
You don't see another kick in your career here at this university.
Yeah.
I will say this, college kickers and punters have come a long way in the last 10 years. It used to be 1 out of every 3 at the minimum college teams, even the top 25 programs, didn't have a kicker you felt could kick a lick, and many of them didn't have a punter that you had much confidence in either. But most, even like bad teams, like Adam Vinatieri just went in the Hall of Fame. Anybody know where he went to college? Hall of Fame kicker? South Dakota State.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
You don't mess
there's like a lot of there's a lot of kickers and punters that come from small schools. Because guys know.
Was he drafted by the? He wasn't drafted by the.
You know what? I was going to use some of that actually in the drive. I don't know where I put it.
If you are going to draft a kicker and you play in a place like New England, it's pretty brilliant to draft a kicker who had to kick in South Dakota for 4 years.
Well, like the last kicker I remember that was like
undrafted.
You couldn't believe that he was a first round. Sebastian Janikowski, remember him from Florida State?
Yeah, absolutely.
Left foot and just had a leg that very few people have ever seen. And so Al Davis and the Raiders spent a first round pick on him. That was considered just radical beyond belief. But it's not radical anymore to take kickers in the mid rounds or late rounds. And I mean, they come from everywhere. They come from the MAC. They come from the Sun Belt. Kickers and punters, a lot of these kids are the only way they're ever going to see a scholarship and have their college paid for is by perfecting that craft. I know a dad who has spent countless hours in the backyard with his son to be a long snapper.
Yeah.
And the kid's going to get a scholarship somewhere, you know.
They're fully funded now.
They're fully funded. So, and hell, a good kicker can get some NIL money for that matter, a good punter, because they can change the game. They can absolutely change. Nobody knows that better than Shane Beamer because going back to his dad, it wasn't just like they blocked a bunch of kicks. They always seem to have really good kickers and punters.
I mean, the punting game won the Clemson game in 2022.
100%. 100%. Bill Snyder, legendary coach at Kansas State, he used to tell me, he used to call it the hidden yardage, Mike, the hidden yardage. Nobody talks about it, doesn't show up in a box score, but the hidden yardage that you get with a great punter, that's what can win you a lot of games. And it's true. It's true. I mean, if you get a guy that not just, we all know the averages, right? He averages 46.2. It's really what you net that counts. And do you pin opponents inside the 10 when you have the opportunity? So I'd rather have the guy that's averaging 2 yards less per punt that routinely pins it at the 2-yard line versus the guy that just boots it through the end zone and raises his average per punt.
Yeah.
That can be a misleading stat. All right, that's a lot of special teams talk for a Tuesday.
I like
it. Special teams is
we cover it all.
They don't call it special teams for nothing.
That's right. Send a copy of this segment to Shane. He'll love it. Send it to Frank for that matter. He'll love it.
So which team uses this first, South Carolina or Iowa?
Iowa. Talk about a team that wins games on hidden yardage. My Lord, they always have a guy that can boom it like 80 yards, and then they win it 10-8. Like they are the classic case of a team that wins games with the kicking game.
Mm-hmm.
They have won a ton.
Well, they're scoring more points than they used to.
They are. They're up in it.
Yeah, last year they actually put together an offense. It was pretty interesting. They had a quarterback.
Sean says, since we're talking about kicking, Mike, why don't we see more drop kicks? Yeah, you see one every now and then in the NFL. Belichick used to do that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Belichick would do the old drop kick. I bet you if we go back in time, Lou probably did it a time or two during his career.
Yeah.
But yeah, the drop kick is it's still legal. You can still do it.
Yeah.
You can still do it if you got a kicker that's well versed in it.
Yeah.
And kickers are fascinating. If you ever watch them at practice, they're just like, they're not goofing off. I mean, they're practicing weird onside kicks, which thankfully we still have in the college game. It's virtually obsolete in the NFL now. But they're always working on like trick shots and trick this and trick that. I'm sure they're like, hey, coach, let me do a drop kick. Let's be different. Let's get weird.
Well, look, Mason Love is exclusively going to punt this year, so I'm sure he's over there teeing up all kinds of stuff.
Did we ever figure out what happened to Kroger?
He went to
not the supermarket
Orleans 2 years ago.
No, but I mean, like, what happened in terms of his production?
I don't have much of a.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, you're just saying that he kind of struggled towards the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think it's just
a kicker can get the shanks, or the yips, but like a punter.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't see that nearly as often. That was a little weird. He was so good his sophomore, junior year.
Yeah, 22. He again, Clemson. Look what he did up there.
I don't know if there's a better punter in the country that year.
Matter of fact, I think if I remember correctly, I think he was like second team All-American, and everybody in the Southeast was going, that guy? Who was better than him? I think they had.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the first team punter was that year.
Probably some dude from UTEP. But then he struggled.
Yeah,
he struggled. It was like some punters just struggle in general, but to be that good and then to have those type of struggles, you don't see that a whole lot with punters.
Yeah. He's in Houston this year, though.
Yeah,
is he?
Yeah,
good.
Him and Clowney, they're boys. Tight.
That's right. That's right.
Since we mentioned the Hall of Fame, I want to give a shout out to Luke Kuechly.
Yeah.
You're going to see him become a broadcasting stud. I covered Luke from his rookie year and his first few years in the league. I just remember on road trips with the Panthers during the preseason, they would actually allow the announcing crew, Mike Rucker and I, to sit in team meals and actually watch them in film room. I was pretty amazed at the access. I was thankful Ron Rivera wasn't paranoid. I've never seen a player work harder. Always had a backpack. Always was just glaring at the film and learning. Didn't matter what else was going on around. That kid turned himself into a Hall of Fame player. Wasn't the most physically gifted. I think he still holds the record for most tackles in a season at Boston College.
It wasn't like 160 or something crazy.
Oh, gosh, I had it. I'll tell you in a second.
I think he made every tackle that year. One year.
And when you talk about guys that like locker room guys that help you win games and just are like a coach, I know that becomes somewhat cliche, but he was
183 in 2011.
183.
183. Yeah, I knew it was something.
And he led the nation in that was 2011 and in 2010, both led the tackles in both.
We're not talking about, again, this is not the Sun Belt or Conference USA. This was in the ACC when it was still pretty good. He was just an absolute beast, and he carried that over into the NFL. Concussions eventually got to him and forced him out of the game a little bit early, but he made his money. He's going to continue to make money in broadcasting. One of the favorite players I ever covered. So congratulations to Luke Kuechly, one of the players being inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. It is a great class. They got it right. Larry Fitzgerald, I remember thinking he should have won the Heisman Trophy his last year at Pitt. He was awesome. Drew Brees, first Super Bowl I ever went to was the one in Miami where Drew Brees and the Saints won. What a phenomenal talent. Just absolute phenomenal talent he was. I'm missing a couple guys. Well, Vinatieri we already talked about, but great Hall of Fame class. But yeah, Luke Kuechly, just an all-around great dude and a flat-out baller.
Yeah, and that
flat-out baller.
That Hall of Fame game last week was the most watched Hall of Fame game in over a decade.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. The NFL does return, for anybody wondering, on Thursday night. There are 2 games you can watch. The Packers and the Steelers and the Cardinals and the Raiders are on
And
TV.
you saw who had the winning touchdown in the Hall of Fame game. Haynes King.
They're going to kill that boy. He's going to. They're going to use him until he is just nothing but broken and battered. And
Haynes King will be in the league. You mark my words. 10 years.
Yeah, those guys.
I don't think he'll ever start, but he'll be in the league.
Hey, I to steal from my friend Michael Flint. I mean, he told me one time, look, if there's any job on planet Earth that I would ever want, it would be third string quarterback in the NFL. You're never going to play. Anytime the first string guy goes down, the second string guy comes in. They're going to sign another guy to be second string. You're always going to be third string. Look at Charlie Whitehurst. You just grab your clipboard, walk around like you know what you're doing. You might have a few snaps here and there, and then you'll look up one day and you've made $20 million and everybody's happy.
Yeah. So. No, it's not a bad gig if you can get it. And Harrison, I agree. He could be the next Taysom Hill, a guy that you use in like wildcat situations, goal line at bare minimum. Haynes King was exceptional throughout his years in those type of situations. So there's no reason why he can't be on an NFL roster for quite some time, even in a backup role. But backup roles, you know what else you get, Jamie? You get a pension.
Oh, yeah.
Pension's not a bad NFL pension, not a bad deal. I was talking to Todd Walker a couple of days ago. He was telling me how much his MLB pension is. Damn, son, you really don't have to do anything the rest of your life. It's just like those guys. You could be the worst person with money in the history of mankind. If you got yourself an NBA, or an MLB pension, you're all right. You're going to be all right.
I know a couple of guys like that myself, and their life is a little bit different from mine on a day-to-day basis, but that's okay.
But they don't get to host ITG. Tell them that much.
That's right.
We actually have to pay the bills around here, so we'll do that. It's 12:10. Mike, you're welcome to stick around. We'll come back. The On 3 Top 25 is out. There is a maybe a little bit of a surprise that cracked the top 25 today, and we'll tell you where South Carolina falls in that as well. JC is literally dealing with tornadoes, and so we're going to just actually keep them in our thoughts. He's just sent Phil and I a video, and it ain't pretty.
It's
up
dark
there in Homer Glen. So we'll try to keep JC alive. We'll keep the train on the tracks, and we'll be right back.
If you own a home, don't wait on these home safety tips. Flush your water heater, clean your dryer vent, and inspect your roof annually. Don't forget to check washer hoses and caulk in wet areas. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com.
The road to success, well, it isn't always a straight one. I tell my kids every day before dropping them off at school, don't take this for granted. Tuition assistance from the South Carolina Education Lottery helped me go back to school when I needed to make a change. And I'm so grateful because now I am where I'm supposed to be.
Better opportunities means a better South Carolina, and a better South Carolina means a better you.
Now is the time. Finish your hardwood floors with Recoat Revolution. Beautiful like new floors in just one day. Hardwood, vinyl, laminate, concrete, tile floors. Any floor. We can do it. No dust, affordable, and 5 stars. Give us a call in South Carolina 803-397-1365 or visit us at recoatrevolution.com. Go Gamecocks.
Do you carry? Carry responsibly with us. What could you lose from a self-defense act? Visit protectwithbear.com to find out more. Protectwithbear.com.
Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage can help you save big today anywhere in South Carolina. Over 27 years experience. Visit ggmortgage.com. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage says go Gamecocks.
Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions are your local home protection experts. Crawl space encapsulation, sump pump and drain installs, humidity control, duct cleaning, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and French drains. We do it all. Visit dryspacecs.com. dryspacecs.com. Go Gamecocks.
If you have experienced water damage, storm damage, fire or smoke damage, or need mold remediation, you need Resto Pros of the Midlands. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com and go Gamecocks.
Subscribe to FourQuarterFriday.com for just $1. High school sports coverage in South Carolina. Part of Rivals and On 3.
South Carolina football. Young men come to Columbia as football players. Some become heroes, and few become legends.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. Gonna get there a chance to be it's about to be legendary. Yeah, we're gonna be legends. We're gonna teach them all a lesson. Got this feeling in our souls we carry. It's about to be legendary.
In Columbia, South Carolina, legends never die.
All right, it's 12:15. We will continue to keep you updated on the weather with Mr. Sherbert. But welcome back to, this is not the morning show anymore, even though, well, we can call it whatever you want to call it, Phil. We can call it the morning show. We can call it the show. Nonetheless, it's certainly ITG, the Golden Tones, Mad Dog JB. The On 3 college football preseason top 25 has officially been released as well. There are 6 ranked, like every ranking that's come out. About half of South Carolina's schedule's got a number next to it. There are 6 ranked opponents in this one as well, but one is flip-flopped with another. The top 5 seems to be consensus across the country for what it's worth in some way, shape, or form. On 3, he's got Ohio State at 1, Oregon at 2, Texas at 3, Georgia at 4, and Notre Dame at number 5. We talked to Phil Steele on Friday, and which, by the way, this Phil, not Uncle Phil, Mad Dog Phil, is going to if you missed that conversation, clip that last question I asked him, Phil, which was just mind-boggling to me, which was, has anybody ever approached you about being on the college football playoff committee? And he was like, no. I'm like, but you would have interest? Yeah. How? This guy watches more football than all these cats combined. Nobody's thought maybe Phil Steele could be advantageous, but I digest. But he mentioned that Notre Dame's schedule is incredibly weak. I think he had it ranked at 66 or 67. Doesn't mean they're not a really good football team, but the challenges are very, very few this year. But they're pretty much a top 5 team, if not number 1 by most out there. Indiana checks in at 6, Miami at 7, Oklahoma at 8, Ole Miss at 9, and Texas A&M rounds out the top 10. On 3's got LSU at number 12. Here are the SEC teams: Texas at 3, Georgia at 4, Oklahoma at 8, Ole Miss at 9, the Aggies at 10, LSU at 12, Alabama at number 14, Tennessee is number 20, and then at number 25, they've got the Florida Gators, and South Carolina will go to the Swamp in week 6 of their schedule this year, and we'll see if they're still there or not. Florida certainly has a chance to be, and who knows? I got a gut feeling that at Auburn in week 3 is probably going to have a lot to do with that, but we'll find out. So no Clemson in the top 25 per On 3. The coaches had the Tigers in there at number 23. And one other quick thing here, when I did the average power ranking in that piece, when I put that out, Phil, 2 weeks ago, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The average power rankings of Brett Ciancia, Phil Steele, taking their average power ranking and then comparing it to at the time I did the coaches rankings. They were all airtight. I mean, that average power ranking basically directly aligned with the coaches poll. Maybe the coaches just read the power ratings. I don't know. But Alabama's average power rating is 13.5. Alabama is at number 14 in the On 3 preseason poll. So you're talking about they're in lockstep there. Florida is number 25. Their average power rating is number 26. Tennessee's average power rating is 16.5. The Vols check in at number 20, so close. Oklahoma is number 8. Their average power rating is 6.5, and they were ranked number 9 by the coaches. A&M's average power rating is 12.5. They were ranked number 8 by the coaches. They're ranked number 10 by On 3. Georgia's average power rating is number 4. Guess what? On 3's got them at number 4 in the preseason, and then Clemson did not make this top 25, but their average power rating is number 20, is 23.5 on South Carolina's schedule. So it seems like everybody is, at least the teams that we're following, who the Gamecocks are playing this year, it seems like the large majority of the country has a similar feel about how good or not so good all these teams are, guys, and we'll see how it all plays out. But interesting stuff. When does the AP come out? Is that next
Monday?
week?
Yeah, we when you were frozen, we went over this.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. It's new audience. Every segment, new audience. 9 SEC, 8 Big Ten, I think was the final tally that we said on that.
Yeah.
Monday at high noon will be the AP poll.
Okay.
And I was kind of joking, Jamie, while you were away, that the Steve Finks of the world would usually fill these out, still do, during the regular season for coaches. Coaches don't spend a lot of time watching other games. They don't have the time to do it. It's not that they're lazy. It's just they don't have time to do it. No. But if there was one poll that they could actually find time to put a little effort into, it would be this one. It would be the preseason poll. You can't tell me there's not enough hours in the day to, if you want, you don't have, there's not a mandate that says you have to be on the coaches poll. You know, every Gamecock coach has been on there at one point or another. If you do it, you might as well take a little pride and at least do the first one right.
The hell with that. If I was a coach, I'd rank all of my 9 teams in the top 10.
That's
so
right.
At the end of the year, where they're like, well, I mean, you were 7-5. I played 9 top 10 teams.
I'm sure there are coaches that think of that. I'm
Right.
sure there are coaches that actually think of that stuff.
Let's boost our strength of schedule here right at the gate.
And when you think about it, I mean, the BCS, that you could do that. You could tilt the scale a little bit because those polls were factored into it. Computer rankings were factored into it.
I loved the comments. Where did I get this and see it? Oh, well, it might have been Phil Steele. Phil, correct me if I'm wrong here. Wasn't he the one that told us the story that he talked to Curt Cignetti and was asking him about the quarterback situation? And he said, Phil, I'm always going to have a good quarterback. And wasn't that Phil Steele that told us that?
I'm always going to have a good quarterback.
I'm always going to have a good quarterback.
Okay. Yeah.
Which who am I to question Curt Cignetti? I mean, good God, the guy just took Indiana to a national championship. Don't tell Purdue that, but they did. And they're ranked number 6 here in the preseason. And you look at these teams. Yeah, I don't know that I would doubt at all that the 5 teams in front of them are more talented and maybe perceived to be a little bit higher up on the scale to win an actual national championship. But I don't know, man. It's hard for me to just say, like, Indiana being at number 6 is just fine. That's going to get them into the postseason if they ultimately end up somewhere around there. But it is just really hard for me as we get closer and closer to kickoff and you start to think more about the Hoosiers. You're like, I don't know. They won the national title last year. They went 16-0. If Ohio State won the national championship last year and went 16-0 and had to replace some crucial players, I got a feeling they'd still be ranked number 1. I think Indiana is getting enough credit because they won the title, but I'm not so sure they're not getting enough credit after what they achieved to get it, though.
Well, they still don't have a bunch of 5 stars. And the notion that Mark Cuban bought them, and that's just ignorance. They started five guys that were transfers from JMU. Okay. They're not a byproduct of a sugar daddy. You could make that claim about some other programs, not Indiana. Fernando Mendoza, there were a lot of teams that could have picked up the phone and said, hey, Fernando, want to play at SEC school XYZ? And he would have gladly come and been your quarterback. And he would have been probably better than the guy you have in place now because nobody played better football last year at the position than Fernando Mendoza. I think it's almost just as impressive as the 16-0 is the fact that he went to back-to-back playoffs with 2 different quarterbacks.
Sure.
Let's not forget what they did in 2024.
Right.
This is not a one-year wonder.
You're making my case for me here. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean they're damn good, and I would not count them out for a playoff in 2026.
Yeah.
And you know what? If there's one coach I don't mind talking some smack, it's Curt Cignetti. You do you, Curt. You've earned it.
Yeah.
I have Googled you, and I'm impressed by the Google.
Yeah, they're not going to lose a football game for a while. Let me ask you specifically, guys, about the Gamecocks slate now, because I think, as I've maintained, and again, none of us know anything. I look, Florida at 25, I got no problem with that. Florida at the end of the year could end up being a top 15 team, or they could end up being like 5-7 or 6-6. I don't think anybody really knows.
Am I allowed to say I know Georgia's going to be really good?
Well, 100%. Yeah.
Am I allowed to say I think Texas is going to be pretty damn good?
I think. Yeah.
So we know something.
Yeah, but Carolina didn't play Texas. I think that when you look at South Carolina's slate, I think it's easy to come to the conclusion the best actual football team that they play is Georgia. I think everybody can agree on that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
However, I would say, in my opinion, the most difficult game they may play is at Oklahoma. Because I do think
because it's on the road.
Yep, it's on the road, top 10 venue.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Maybe at night.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Now that we have some preseason numbers to go by that will mean nothing when these games are played unless the numbers are similar or improved, are we looking at this schedule any differently? Mike, I'm asking you specifically. You've been a little bit more outspoken about it than I have this year. You've never said Carolina's got an easy slate or anything like that. You said it's more manageable. More manageable.
Yes, correct.
Do you
properly
think
quoted
that now? I'm big on that. Do you think that now that we're seeing a lot of these preseason? Okay, you got Ciancia, a guy you respect. You've spoken with numerous times over the years. Same thing with Uncle Phil.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing the coaches poll. You're seeing on 3. A lot of these things are really in lockstep here. And now you see, okay, South Carolina's probably going to have to run through 6 or 7 programs that are perceived to be much better than them right now, or at least a little bit better than them. Gamecocks, the on 3 poll has them like 37th in the country. Do you see the schedule any differently than you saw it 2 weeks ago?
Not at all. To me, it should still be at least an 8-win team.
Okay. So do you think South Carolina should be a preseason top 25 team?
Yeah. I mean, 8-4. My guess is when the final poll comes out, there's going to be a couple of 8-4s right around 25.
So what you're saying then is that you agree with Phil Steele's power poll, where the preseason top 40 is based on schedule and how good the team is based on who they play on their schedule. The power
100%.
poll is based on how good the football team is.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that on the Phil interview with JC and Morgan a month ago. His power rankings, which are higher, more friendly to Carolina, versus the top 25 rankings, which are the number is lower. But again, Carolina still plays an SEC schedule. It's not an ACC schedule. It's not a Big 12 schedule. It's still an SEC schedule. But my point all along has been, as far as SEC schedules go, this is the best one Carolina's had in a while, because you don't play like 3 of the top 4 teams for now. Obviously, that can change, and you do get to play most of the bottom of the barrel. I mean, yeah, could Arkansas pull a Sam Pittman and be better than we all expected? It could happen, but you're not going to convince me they're in the category where Carolina will be playing. Could Kentucky under Coach Stein, who says Google him, could they be better than we're all giving credit for? Yeah, but that game is not going to be as difficult as at Oklahoma, at A&M. It's not going to be as difficult at Alabama. I said at A&M. A&M's home, right?
Columbia, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that game is going to be as difficult as any of those, right? I mean, there's some things that, for me, just my own personal preference, I'm not saying this is the God's gospel, you can look at it and kind of make hay of, okay, I'd much rather have this than that. Now, you mentioned the Florida game. The Florida game, I have no idea if Florida's going to be. This is more in line with your theory, Jamie. I don't know if Florida's going to be any good or not. I don't know if Auburn's going to be much improved. And I still have questions about Tennessee.
Yeah. Right?
And quite frankly, I still have questions about Carolina. You know, for being brutally honest, but
100%.
But that's where I leave the margin of error. Like, I didn't say Carolina's going 11-1. I said that team, that schedule, 3-year starting quarterback, potentially 3-4 first-round draft picks. Let's keep it at 3. Let's play conservatively. Revamped offensive line, new OC, a coach in year number 6, albeit on a hot seat. There's no reason why that team with that schedule in this year should not win at least 8 games. I will not back off that. That's not a hot take. That's just a covering this program for the better part of a quarter century plus. That's what I see. And if they don't do it, you can rest assured the fan base will be pretty pissed. And I can't blame them if they felt that way, if that roster and this team and this situation and that schedule goes 6-6. Even 7-5 is going to ring a little hollow, especially if the 5th loss comes in Death Valley. But now imagine this.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where the Gamecocks go 8-4 and win a 3rd consecutive game at Death Valley. Has there been another Carolina coach that's ever done that?
No, actually. And there's never been there's only been 2 quarterbacks in history who have won 2 games in Death Valley. Those would be Steve Tannehill and Tommy Suggs. And Lenore Sellers, based on all the stuff all the research we've done around here, could be looking to be the 3rd quarterback to ever do that while breaking all of Steve Tannehill's records potentially in the upstate.
But you know what fans really want to see more than records is the 12-12 career starting record be just completely spike and go to, say, 20-16 or 21-15.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important record for Lenore's Sellers.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to disagree with you a little bit here, but I don't know how heavy my fist is on this because we haven't seen it. The key is Alabama. That's the key to this whole conversation that I'm about to have here, because Uncle Phil, and we put a lot of stock in Uncle Phil, the uncle of college football, everybody's favorite uncle in college football, Phil Steele, who should be on the college football playoff committee, but hasn't been asked.
So should Ciancia, for that matter.
Oh, yeah, exactly. There was a rule in place on writers. I get that, but Ivan Mazel is now on the committee, and so Uncle Phil should be there too. Uncle Phil has Georgia and Texas tied at the top of the league in his preseason SEC forecast, right, Mad Dog?
Everybody on the planet, yeah.
Our Mad Dog Phil.
Right.
But he's got Alabama and Oklahoma tied for third. So he's got Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. Those are his top five in order there. So if that is true, he actually has South Carolina playing three of the top four teams in the league and two of those on the road, Oklahoma and Alabama, just like in 2024. I think I'm going to lump Alabama into a category with a few other teams here, but I'll explain why. I don't think that a lot of folks, without seeing the actual football teams play this game against quality opponents, know what to think about Missouri, know what to think about Vanderbilt, and I'll come back to that. Know what to think about Florida, Auburn, South Carolina, and Alabama specifically.
So where do we disagree?
No, I'm just making a point.
Okay.
No, where I disagreed was you said that they didn't play like three of the top four teams in the league. Well, according to Phil Steele, they do play three of the top four teams in the league.
Yeah, I mean, Phil is a little lone wolf on that because almost everybody has Ole Miss higher than some of the teams that Phil does. Doesn't mean Phil's right or wrong. We'll see. But I would put my chips on Chambliss and Lacey, whereas Alabama, I don't even know who my quarterback is going to be, and they couldn't run the ball worth a damn last year. Advantage Ole Miss for me on that one. It's okay. Phil, as good as he is, he's been wrong a time or two. We'll respectfully disagree on that one. But Jamie, everybody plays some of the top teams in the SEC. Nobody just gets to play nothing but the bottom of the barrel. So if I look at Carolina's schedule this year and I stack it up to what it's been the last 5 years, or if I even stack it up to what, say, a Texas or somebody like that is this year, I think Carolina, nobody gets an easy SEC slate. Nobody. But I'll take this over what I've seen the previous years. Nobody else gets to play Kentucky, Arkansas. I mean, we all agree these are not great teams. You mentioned Vandy. I think Vandy takes a step back, but Vandy's not on Carolina's schedule. And Mississippi State, even if Kamario Taylor is really good, the chances of Mississippi State finishing in the upper half of the SEC, I'll take that bet. In fact, I'll give you 2-1 odds right now.
2-1.
2-1 odds. $100. You win 200. I win 100. Mississippi State does not finish in the top half of the SEC.
Well, I think that when we go back to the point I was making here, I think that obviously Florida with a new head coach, people are looking at it. They don't know what to think. I mean, they just cracked the top 25 today. I think a lot of people would give Florida credit because generally speaking, Florida has plenty of talent to go win football games. They just haven't won football games. Nobody knows what to think about Auburn. I don't. I have no idea. I would be more inclined to do what the On Three folks have done, and give Florida a little bit more credit than Auburn. Just because, I mean, Auburn's in the middle of a rough stretch. I don't know if anybody realizes this, but they've had a losing record for like 5 straight years. I mean, this is not typical Auburn football. You got South Carolina. It's just been so up and down. I think people are starting to believe that Shane Beamer did actually correct the issues in the offseason. But I think from the outside looking in, nothing personal at all. From the outside looking in, I think a lot of people actually the question mark in South Carolina is Shane Beamer. Is he actually a good football coach or not? And that's fair for people to question that. I mean, they haven't had 2 consecutive years where they've been really good. So you got these guys, Vanderbilt. I put in this mix because historically, look, Vanderbilt has never been able to really sustain any sort of success. They had a tiny little run under Coach Franklin, and besides that, it's been, last year they were awesome, but Diego Pavia's gone. So they're at Phil's got them at 11th. I think a lot of people are like, I don't know, anywhere from 15th to 11th. Arkansas is kind of universally 16th in the SEC. But then you've got Alabama, and I think that Alabama, this has been where I don't know that anybody has a grasp. Part of it, Mike, is certainly the quarterback situation. There's no doubt about that. Nobody knows if they were returning a starting quarterback who lit up the night last year, might be a little bit different right now. But they're not. And Kalen DeBoer has proven over the last couple of years that he can lose some games they probably shouldn't be losing, and then they could also be in some games they shouldn't even be in. There are games that they've won where people are going, good God, could you imagine if we lost that game? So, you're seeing, like you mentioned, you just said you disagree with Steele on that. That's fine. I'm not saying that I don't disagree with Steele. I don't know what to think. He's got Bama basically knocking on the door of playing in the SEC championship game, right there behind Georgia and Texas. And they're going to get their crack at it because they do play Georgia at home this year. So we'll see. But then there's other folks who say, yeah, I hear you, man. But I think Ciancia's got Bama at 7th, which, by the way, can still get you in the college football.
He does. Tied with Tennessee at 7th.
Yeah. So, I think when you look at Carolina's schedule, you look at a lot of schedules in the SEC, and those teams who have Alabama on it, whoever those other 9 teams are that have Alabama on their schedule, the actual strength of it at the end of the year is going to come back to Alabama. Was Alabama worth a damn like Alabama standard? Were they middle of the road? And I don't think they will, but did they fall apart? I just think that's so crucial.
Yeah, no, look, I would not give you 2-1 odds on Alabama because I'm not betting against Alabama. Alabama and Mississippi State are 2 different animals entirely. Right? I mean, there's some things we can say before the ball is snapped on September the 5th, and we just know to be true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're searching for an upset. Alabama is just trying to be Alabama.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm not going to. I mean, they still have a bunch of 5 stars if they can figure out the quarterback. I still think Kalen DeBoer is a good coach. I'm not looking at Alabama, and you're not hearing me predict Carolina's going to beat Alabama. They might not. I mean, it's a tough game. There's no doubt about that. But again, 9 games, you're going to play good teams. You just are. But you're not. I mean, I'll go through Ciancia's. Georgia, you got. Oklahoma, you got. Okay. You don't. Then in order, you don't have Texas. You don't have Ole Miss. You don't have LSU. The bottom of the barrel, which almost everybody, including Phil Steele, agrees on. You got 3 of the 4. Mississippi State, Kentucky, Arkansas. Again, I'll give 2-1 odds that any of those teams have a winning record in conference play this year.
Just out of curiosity, this doesn't really matter, but if you were to pick one of those teams to overperform, which one would you go with?
Great question.
Based on what we're
The easy one is Mississippi State because you know the quarterback, Kamario Taylor, right?
Sure.
I wouldn't be shocked if Kentucky wore that mantle. I would be shocked if Arkansas did. I think Arkansas and Ryan Silverfield, he's been handed a really difficult task. It's not his fault, but that's what he was left. Kentucky now, they got a quarterback that nearly won the Notre Dame job a year ago. They did some good work in the portal. They're not going to be great, but they can certainly be improved. So I think it would be Kentucky or Mississippi State. I think Arkansas they're going to be very firm in that 16 hole. But they're not going to be far from it if they do miss the 16 hole.
Can I use where's Mad Dog here? Mad Dog, do I have permission to make a never mind. I don't even know how to say it. It's
whatever it
something you
is,
always
permission
do, Mike.
granted. 'Cause
Yeah, whatever.
We
Right.
got tornadoes going on. We got power. We got virtual Jamie, frozen, resting Bradford face. We're all anything goes today.
Permission to ask permission?
Permission granted to ask permission.
All right. When you look at Kentucky, I'm going to make a bold. So they got Youngstown State week 1. I don't want to lose that one, but they'll be fine. They got South Alabama in week 4. Okay. Let me give you their first 5 SEC games. Okay. Regardless of what I've seen lately on the internet coming from.
This is Arkansas you're talking?
This is Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. My bad. Yeah.
Okay, so week 2, Alabama at home. Week 3 at A&M. Week 5 at South Carolina. Week 6, LSU. Week 7 at Oklahoma. I'm going to raise my hand here and stand up on a ledge, and say, do I dare say this? I believe the most winnable game of that group is Alabama in week 2. Okay, here's why. Not because anybody thinks that Kentucky is better than Alabama. It is because of where it falls.
100% agree.
It's
Early
in week
and at home.
Yeah. It's not big. Yeah, if that game was weeks down the road, I wouldn't even blink at it. It's because that is just a strange game in Lexington, Kentucky. In week
Reeks
2.
of a noon kickoff, doesn't it?
Yeah. What is it?
It's
Anybody
locked
know?
into a 3:30 actually.
Oh, it's locked into 3 because it's
But
Bama.
it's
Yeah.
ABC, so it's full
'Cause it's
network.
Bama.
It'll be all eyes on me.
Only
Right?
SEC game, right? That's the only SEC game of the week.
But it's still a sleepy day game.
Yeah.
In Lexington, Alabama rolls in there.
They're going to be fired up there. I mean, they're going to be 1-0.
Kentucky
with a new
will.
coach. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
But Bama could easily be kind of lulled in.
Mm-hmm.
They would almost prefer, I think, to have a night game in this situation to take it. You know, Kalen needs to have their undivided attention for this game. Because if you look, God, I don't think you even show up to the football office on Sunday if you lose that game and you're Kalen DeBoer. You think that's a call-in sick day.
Your key
That's a
might
call-in
not.
sick day. Yeah, exactly.
It's on staff that can't get in the door.
Do I have the wrong fob? What happened?
There's a $70 million check on your doorstep. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for playing.
That'd be the greatest day ever. I'd be like, I don't have to work anymore. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, Jimbo Fisher's like, hey, man, come on over. Let's go play 18, Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Kentucky hangs 60 points on Youngstown State, right? And they're living large coming into that game. So that's going to be an interesting turn of events. There's also a world where Kentucky loses their first 5 SEC games, but wins out in the SEC slate.
Oh yeah.
And ends up having to fight Louisville in the rivalry game for bowl consideration.
I don't know that they're going to have much of a shot in Knoxville in November.
Here's the underlying factor in line with what you're talking about, Jamie, for a number of schools. I always like to make the analogy, a boxing analogy. And when you got the quarterback, then you got a puncher's chance. So we don't know a whole lot about Kevin Minchie.
Kenny.
Sorry. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about Kenny Minchie. So much so that I mispronounced his name.
You didn't mispronounce it. You just got it wrong.
I did. I just got it wrong. Yeah. Kenny Minchie, sorry, Kenny, was a highly touted kid. And like I said, almost won the job in South Bend. They are very excited about him. They haven't had very good quarterback play with the exception of one really good year from Will Levis. And outside of that, I mean, you could make the argument their best quarterback play came from a wide receiver. Minchie is a guy. Camario Taylor is a guy. Byron Brown is a guy. Aaron Philo is a guy. These are the unknown quarterbacks that one way or another you can throw a stone and find somebody who'll say, oh yeah, he's the real deal. He's a difference maker. I've heard it on every one of those guys. And I've heard it from people I trust too, not just like searching the On3 message board brigade. I've actually talked to people who cover it for a living and they will tell you, no, this guy difference maker, Mike. I know they got some limitations and they're weak here and they're weak there, but you just wait till you see that. I've heard all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the overriding X factor. If you want to find a program that's going to supersede expectations, Jamie, I would say the answer is, well, which one of those quarterbacks is the real deal? And anybody that tells you they know the answer, I think, is lying. You haven't had enough on Camario Taylor to predict he's going to be just this unbelievable force. You haven't had enough of Minchie. You haven't had enough of Philo. These are all guys that have thrown like less than 50 passes. Taylor a little bit more than that, but they haven't had enough of a sample size to predict that they are really going to be worth like 3-4 extra wins in an SEC season at this particular school.
That's
in this
the
league.
thing. Like
Yeah.
if Camario Taylor was at Florida State or something like that, I think the conversation. I'm not saying I'm not buying it. I'm just saying, like a lot of things right now, we really need to kind of see this. But like if he was at, Florida State, I don't know, pick an ACC.
If he was at Georgia
school.
Southern playing for Clay Helton, damn it, I would say look out.
Actually, honestly, replace the Southern with Tech. I mean, if he was at Georgia Tech, I would look at it and go, hey, that kid could make that could be a team that all of a sudden wins, 9 games or something this year.
Sure.
But in the SEC, we've had this at South Carolina. I mean, Spencer Rattler different players, but Spencer Rattler came here. Of course, the offense was doo-doo until the end of the season. And then in 2023, you still had Spencer Rattler as your quarterback. And what else did you have? Very little.
Well, you had the worst offensive line I've maybe ever seen.
That was last year, but they one up themselves to your point.
I can make the argument. I can make the argument the one that he had his final year was pretty damn bad. Last year, at least you kind of knew who the guys were. Remember Rattler's last year? You didn't even know, like you were taking guys off at the local Publix that were bagging your groceries and saying, "Hey, can you give us 50 snaps on Saturday?" It was a mess, and Spencer was running for his life almost every play. Now he avoided a lot of sacks, as you mentioned yesterday, because Spencer always knew to make the right play. He wasn't the most physically gifted, although he had a pretty damn good arm and was accurate. I mean, that's why he's in the NFL, even if he doesn't start again. I don't know. I thought he got a raw deal with the Saints because they sucked out loud, and you're asking him to perform a miracle. But I think all of those guys will have moments in the sun where they're good and they flash, and then there'll be humbling moments where they're reminded, "Hey, son, you have not done it in this league yet."
Yeah.
And so I can't be bullish on any of those. But if you give me a good team with a returning quality quarterback, like a Georgia, like an Oklahoma, like a Texas, like an Ole Miss, like an LSU, even though Levitt played somewhere else, like a Texas A&M, like a South Carolina, then I should be able to feel pretty confident about the results I'm getting. There's massive questions with those other programs, most of them.
LSU's another one I just don't think people have a grip on, but they're willing to give it a chance because Lane Kiffin is Lane Kiffin, and he is the mastermind of the transfer portal.
He is. Love him or hate him. Did you see Brian Kelly went on some platform yesterday and predicted 10-2 for LSU?
No, I didn't. But what was his dialect? What was his dialect?
He went with Hispanic. I thought it was. He decided that he was, from like the Rio Grande area, and just did a thick Spanish accent. Threw a few adios amigos in there. No, he went back to his regular tone, his regular Midwestern dialect for this one. I think he's going to stay with that for TV on CBS.
Did he give one of these after the prediction or no?
Yeah, he did a little dance.
Okay.
And then he kind of gave the old Cam Newton, that little thing with the. He did all that. I kid. He did none of that. But he predicted 10-2, which I think is almost a little bit of psychological warfare. Basically, he's setting up Lane Kiffin to fail, which we would love nothing more for that to happen, if we're being honest. He wants to see LSU. I think he is. I think he wants to see LSU just completely take the gas pipe and go, see, I told you, problem wasn't me. This LSU ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, but thanks for the cash. I'll be,
But
by the
thank
way,
you.
I will be coaching again at some point in time, in case anybody's wondering.
He probably will. Hey, can I mention a fine sponsor before we
Sure.
break away for the final time of this 3-hour marathon that is ITG Sans JC? Do want to mention we've got everybody covered on the mortgage front. Now we've got people covered on the real estate front with Renee Fryer. Renee Fryer, who's another one that's been doing it in South Carolina for a long, long time. And they've got you covered with a group that's been doing it for a long, long time in Home Advantage Realty. She's got listings now. She's got a new one in West Columbia, not far from Dee's Wings. Nice looking house. Give her a call anytime. She can help you throughout the process. Another one where you put it on the fridge because you never know when you'll need it. 803-271-4777. 803-271. That's a great number in Vegas. 4777. That's Renee Fryer of Home Advantage Realty. Great local market expertise and personal care for every move you may have.
It's 12:52. One quick final timeout. We'll come back and tee you up for the rest of the afternoon and wind it down here on the morning show, presented by Resto Pros and the West Law Firm.
If you own a home, don't wait on these home safety tips. Flush your water heater, clean your dryer vent, and inspect your roof annually. Don't forget to check washer hoses and caulk in wet areas. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com.
A really common fear in a workman's compensation case is what's going to happen to my job if I report this injury? And my answer to that is you still need to report your injury. I'm dealing directly with the insurance company, and the insurance company is going to treat you like a file number. So let me make sure that doesn't happen to you. Let me get involved in your workman's compensation case.
Ryan Brewer Fence offers a variety of services ranging from fences and railings to columns. Our craftsmanship, experience, and service is second to none. Visit ryanbrewer.net today.
Why are you throwing all that money over the falls? If you're buying a Honda or Toyota, that's exactly what you're doing. Look at the Kia Sorento. Get a third-row SUV for $8,000 less than the Highlander. Toyota only has a 5-year warranty. JT's Kia has a 1,000,000-mile warranty.
Don't forget JT's Advantage Package. Oil changes, roadside assistance, and so much more.
Choosing a Sorento over a Highlander is a no-brainer. More features, better warranty, and you save over $8,000.
We're serious about saving you money.
Killian Road, I-77, or Greystone Boulevard.
JT's Kia.
Is this your golf game? It doesn't have to be. Visit McKellarEnterprises.org and improve your game today.
Do you carry? Carry responsibly with us. What could you lose from a self-defense act? Visit ProtectWithBear.com to find out more. ProtectWithBear.com.
South Carolina football. Young men come to Columbia as football players. Some become heroes, and few become legends.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. Gonna get there a chance to be It's about to be legendary. Yeah, we're gonna be legends. We're gonna teach them all a lesson. Got this feeling in our souls we carry. It's about to be legendary.
In Columbia, South Carolina, legends never die.
Oh, 12:55. We're about 5 minutes away from Shane Beamer meeting with the media. Those of you that would like to check that out, you can. If you go to Gamecocks Online YouTube channel, we'll have plenty of follow-up on that tomorrow. Both David Cloninger and Chris Clark will be here. Rob will be in with me in the morning as well. One quick national note here. Just I don't know if it's of interest or not, but it was interesting, that's for sure. So currently in Boulder, Colorado, they are practicing. That would be the Colorado Buffaloes, led by your boy Mad Dog, Coach Prime. It is an open practice in Boulder today. Fans, media, who wants to watch, come on out. 9 to 11, Franklin Field, Tuesday, August the 11th. Come see your Buffaloes. Park in the Ford practice facility parking garage. You're going to have to pay for that. You can enter in the northwest corner of Franklin Field on the Buff Walk. That's all good. Make sure if you have to carry a bag or anything with you, it's a clear bag. Oh, yeah, and your phones, they will be collected at entry.
That's what it's like if you see a comedy club nowadays.
Yeah, they do the little pouch or whatever.
They put it in the little pouch.
Lock it up. Yeah.
And you don't get it back until you exit stage left.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Like, okay.
I don't care. It's fine.
I don't either. I mean, if you really want to go and you can't part ways with your phones, then I guess they can't trust you. So, whatever.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Now, what if I
Shane?
have a backup phone? What if I put the phone in the pouch and then I got one on my sock?
A bat phone.
The bat phone.
What if you have the glasses with the video recording thing on them?
Oh, yeah. The meta glasses. Now what are you going to do?
Well, this is exactly. I mean, it's 2026. I'm sure.
Or the watches. Don't those? Yeah, those can.
The watches.
The watches take pictures too.
Just standing there like this the whole time. What's that guy doing? Nothing. Just exercising. You know,
just taking the time.
Working out the old elbow, a little injury back at Pokai.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, the shoulder.
It's killing me. My arm, it's broken.
Yeah, that's right.
By the way, Daryl says Arkansas DFL. That's dead freaking last. Is his prediction. Nice job, Daryl. Lance says if we happen to beat Bam on the road, damn, it's good to be Lit and Willie B the next home game. No doubt about that. Doc Raybeard says, no thanks, Mike. How about 10-1 on Mississippi State finishing in the upper half? I can't do 10-1. I can do 2-1. But 10-1, we're going to have to. That'd be like if you're going to predict Mississippi State to win the SEC or make it to Atlanta. I'll give you 10-1. Give you 10-1 on that. There was another. Oh, Harrison says the program hasn't won 3 straight in the upstate since 92 to 96, but that wasn't the same coach. That's right. Brad Scott took over in 93. So Shane, this is so interesting, guys. I mentioned this once before, and I don't think it gets talked about a whole lot. But think about this. What was we were? I don't want to say guilty of it, but I don't mind telling you. Last year, we pointed out more than a few times that Shane Beamer had the best start through 5 years of coaching in Carolina history. Right? We threw that out a few times. And then, not surprisingly, when the team started off 2-5 or whatever it was, some people reminded us, it's not the best start in Gamecock history anymore. If Carolina does what I think that they should, then Shane is right back to the best start of any coach in school history through 6 years. Better than Spurrier, better than Joe Morrison, better than take your pick. So you have that on one hand. People could be praising. There could be a love fest for Shane Beamer if this year resembles all what it did 2 years ago. Or he's really the only coach in the SEC that people are talking about on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Because there was so much turnover that everybody got fired last year, right?
Right.
Something's got to give. When we turn the mics on in November, we're either going to be talking contract extension or it's going to be a very uncomfortable conversation. There's very few programs that have that thin of a line between love fest and get the hell out of here. But that's what's going down in Columbia this year, potentially.
Well, and even that, I mean, if you don't make the playoff and you still have a positive year, right? Like if you do hit 8-4 and don't go to the playoff, the fan base is going to be like,
Oh, they'll be
it was
very
an
happy.
even number year. You know, it was an even number year. Beamer's good every other year. We're losing Sellers. We're losing this. We're losing that. It's going to be a
That's
down
true.
year. Yeah, you know, it's like
there'll be some negativity. Yeah, you're right, Phil. There's always going to be some.
It'll be tempered, but
if they go 8-4. Especially if one of those 8 is, again, third straight in Death Valley, you're forced to be happy, even if you're a naturally glad. I think. But if you go 6-6, there ain't gonna be any happiness.
Yeah, be a lot of unease,
and it's gonna be a lot of unease, and it's gonna be a lot of talk, and Paul Feinbaum's gonna have conversations and. Yeah. It can go one way or another this year, boys.
I hope it's one way, not the other.
Not the other.
Appreciate Preston Thorne for joining us. Mike, thanks for sticking around for a full 3 hours.
I enjoyed it. It's like the old days when we had to muscle through all 3 hours.
Forgot how long these things could be. Hopefully, JC's back tomorrow.
Get back to your 2-hour cushiony roll here tomorrow.
Yeah, get back in the swing of it. Continue to keep an eye on the weather up there with JC as they're dealing with it in Chicago. But
I didn't realize they were going to have a freaking tornado in that area. That's insane. Thoughts and prayers to everybody out there in that area for sure. If any Braves fans are going to the game tonight, hit me up. I'll be there. First base side. Me and the wife are checking out Braves Mets tonight.
Yeah, perfect. Sounds like a wonderful evening.
Last time I was there, a couple of there was a guy working like one of the stands or alcohol huts or whatever inside the stadium. Huge Gamecock fan, frequent listener to the show. Recognized, said hello, took a selfie. Very neat. Again, as I always say, a ton of Gamecock fans in the ATL, representing very well.
The ATL. They were there last year. That is for dang sure. For Mike and Mad Dog, I'm JB. Have a wonderful Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow morning on The Morning Show.